The following podcast contains naughty language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
First of all, I just want to thank everybody that hung out and contributed to our past extra special Halloween special this past Sunday. It was awesome to hang out and hear from all of you. And as of this recording, which is November 3rd, I think it's fair to say that we're going to extend October for a few more days, at least until the weekend, because I'm not taking my pumpkins off my porch until at least Sunday. I mow the lawn for one of the last few times, and that's exciting. So you know what? Welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Welcome to episode 536 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is the world's most dangerous podcast and is recorded in front of an undead studio audience here at Castle Wolfenstein, also at the Lair of Lost Swag within the Raven Chateau and the Lair of the Gods. We are streaming live. For those watching us live, if you're not watching us live, we're not live. We're live to digital tape. They even call it tape anymore?
I don't think so.
What is it, Raven?
Digital.
Yeah, it's. I don't think with our videos broadcasting.
Oh, yeah. It's not because I forgot to hit the fucking button. So there you go. Thanks. Oh, look at you.
God forbid if
wait.
people can't see you.
Yeah, assistant producer tonight. All right, you get that. You get that. Or the assistant to the producer. There you go.
That's fine. That's fair.
Okay. Look at you producing an image. You clapped for yourself.
I clapped for all of us.
No, don't clap for me. Don't clap for me, Argentina.
Yeah.
I can't speak for us. I can't clap for us.
No,
This sucks.
No, don't do anything for us. All right, so yeah, we finished. We wrapped up Halloween, but you know what? As Raven Shadow said, we're extending it a couple more days. You're gonna keep the pumpkins up, you said, and what about the turnips?
Yeah, no, I mean my porch does have a weird odor right now. I was getting the mail.
Well, that's because you keep on urinating on it. So
I don't pee on my porch, dude.
Wait, you shower on your porch?
I wait till it rains and I go there. Just like kind of vibe. You know what I mean? It's zoo.
So, did anyone? Before we dive into Halloween, let's quickly let folks know what we're up to this evening. So, on the show, we will be talking about the film Deadstream. It is a Shudder exclusive, and it is directed by The Winters. It is a married couple, Joseph and Vanessa Winter, and I'm super excited to talk about it, actually. So I can't wait till we get there. But we did a short of theirs last week when we talked about VHS 99. So we're kind of continuing on, and we're doing their feature film debut. So we'll be talking about Deadstream a little bit later in the show. If you guys have thoughts and opinions about the movie or any movie that we've done on the show, or you just digging on something really cool, you did something awesome for Halloween, whatever it is, you can feel free to send us a voice message or an email. And you can send it to podcast@trickortreatradio.com. So if you're listening live, you can go ahead and do that. You still get time to get it in for the show this evening. If you're not listening live and you're listening on digital tape or in the ether, however it gets stored in the cloud, Raven Shadow, is that where stuff's stored?
No, I put it in boxes.
you put it in boxes.
I stole my things in boxes. In armoire.
Whoa. All right.
I don't know how to get to the cloud. Where's the cloud?
It's up.
It's up.
Go outside and look up.
That's where everything's stored. Our podcast is stored in the clouds.
I don't know how to find that.
How do you think we get around, all the way around the world, or listened on every continent, Raven Shadow? How do you think that happens? The clouds take it there.
The lines, landlines, fault lines. I don't know. I don't know how micro copper fibers work.
Micro copper.
Micro copper fibers. I don't know how tubes work. I mean, a couple, but no. I mean, I don't know. What do I know about that?
Wait, you know YouTube and PornTube, right? Is that the tubes you know?
Yeah.
And Tubi. Is Tubi a tube?
And the Groove Tube. Remember that anthology? That was fucking.
Oh, was it you guys? Fuck, I can't remember. I think it was on this. I mean, having two podcasts, I kind of forget sometimes. But I think we were talking. Yeah, it was on the show because we were talking about. You brought up Riff. I was trying to think of like a reading program type thing. It actually turned out to be a series of books. I had forgotten, but it's Sweet Pickles. Do you guys remember Sweet Pickles?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, dude. Sweet Pickles was the shit back in the day.
Right? Okay. Yeah, I couldn't think of it. I remember the commercials and everything like that, and then I had to look it up after the show, and I couldn't remember.
Sweet Pickles.
Evil Corny is checking out, and he's in the chat room. He says, "Thanks for the reminder, Raven Shadow. Wiley had to tell me y'all started." That's funny because I don't think Wiley listens to us.
It's weird. Yeah, I'm more fascinated by that.
Yeah, but she told Corny, but you didn't.
Oh, your dumb friends are doing their thing again.
Evil Corny says, everything is stored next to Casablanca, Raven Shadow.
I know, I'm fucking looking. I'm off on Sunday, maybe. I'll see.
You're off on Sunday? Are you always?
Well, yeah, but, I gotta cram a lot of things in those days. You know what I mean? Like, I got to do one. I find a lawn mowing this Sunday.
Speaking of cram, we've got December Devil Feature Cram Jam coming up in a month.
God damn it!
You know what? I think we might get back to. I think we're due for a Patreon takeover in December, so maybe that'll make things a little bit better, Raven Shadow.
Light and load.
Well, they still might pick two movies, so maybe not. But.
That's fun.
So that's what's up. And then after we talk about the movie, we will play any voice messages that we got. I know that we already have a few. I don't know. We have some lined up. So if you guys want to get yours in, there's still some time if you're listening live. All right. So now we set the scene. Now we can talk about Halloween. And we did our extra special Halloween special on Devil's Night, October 30th. And it was Raven Shadow and myself. What did you think, Raven Shadow? Did you have a good time? I think it was a fun party.
I had a lot of fun. I mean, all that was missing was Aries, but aside from that, and that's not a dig, I always wish you were here because we had a lot of fun, a lot of great contributions, a lot of folks hanging out. It was so good. I mean, check it out. I mean, what am I going to, it's fucking there. But no, great contributions, and it was a blast. We conjured a demon.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we summoned a demon, by the way, everyone. So if you haven't seen that yet, I would recommend watching the video because you get to actually see the demon. So yeah, there you go. It's on YouTube, it's on our website, trickortreated.com. Go look for the extra special Halloween special 2022. It's towards the end of I think within the last half hour, we summoned the demon, but it was a good show overall. We had some great contributions from some folks. We had video content from our pal Anthony. I can't wait for his documentary that he's been working on. Spooktacular. It looks fucking awesome. And also we got to see a video from the Zombie Girls. Aries, if you don't watch the whole thing, you should at least track that down because I think you'd appreciate it.
Okay.
They did the top 5 good for her moments of 2022.
So killer. Skeletron dropped a fucking track.
Yep, heard new Skeletron track. We heard from Reverend Scott. We heard from the Gimme 5 podcast. Let me see. I'm going to pull up. We heard from Corondo.
Yes.
We heard from Dr. Chris. And that's it. And we had the intro that our Patreon supporters contributed to. And we did the spoken word from Vincent Price's spoken word from Thriller. And I think it came out pretty good. Everyone's contributions were awesome. So you guys can check that out. It is on our website. It's on all the podcast feeds. It's on YouTube, wherever you check us out normally. But as I mentioned, I would recommend the video because there are a couple videos that we play during it. They'll still kind of come across in audio form, but you'll miss the visuals and you'll miss the whole summoning of the demon. So, how about you, Aries? Were you at Haunted Hollando on Devil's Night?
Yes.
Yeah. How's the season been going? I know it's, as we talked about before the show, it's not quite over.
Yeah, they had an incredible year this year through donations. And if I can ramble on here for a second while I try to narrow in on the amount that was raised this year. I don't know if it was record setting, but it was $16,000. Over $16,000 was raised this year.
That's nuts, and that's all donations. So
all 100% donations to Shrewsbury Youth and Family Services.
Wow, that's amazing. We kind of talked about it a little bit before, but with Sean McNamara, our friend, putting basically being the sort of ringleader and getting contributions from his family, from you, Aries, and other folks, and doesn't take a dime.
And no, he doesn't, and he gives his own money to all the decorations and the props and everything else. And even I've purchased some things along the way. We need this, we need that, and I had to fight with him not to give me money just because I don't have the funds that he has, but I'd like to contribute a little bit here and there as best I can. So he just wants to give his heart and soul into this maze, and he does, and it turns out amazing every year.
Yeah, that's pretty outstanding. Raven Shadow stepped away, so you heard the figure, but Raven Shadow, $16,000 is how much.
I heard that. That's fucking awesome. That's
crazy.
Wow. Tiny is doing a killer thing. Marion was able to go and check it out.
What night was she there? I didn't see her.
I think it was
Sunday. Yeah, it was the when we did the Halloween.
This past I didn't see her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's there with her. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Very peculiar. I'm sorry I missed Marion.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So pretty great stuff. Big props, or as Raven Shadow would say, big ups yourself to Sean and the McNamara's and to Aries and everyone else who helps out. $16,000 to donate, and there may be more, I guess, still coming in. So
I believe that was just the cash number. Was just the cash people putting in buckets.
Yeah.
We also did have a Venmo and another QR link. So there was possibly this was even more.
That's crazy. Marion asks, Aries, were you wearing a mask?
No, this is scary enough.
That's fair enough.
I found out I am the scariest thing in that maze because the night my mother went down, she verbally shouted, like audibly shouted when she saw me. And I'm like, mother, like you look at this all the time. It's still shouted loud enough that everyone else like in the maze turned and looked at her. This is great. I'm the scariest thing in there.
Because she was scared?
Yeah, well, I already talked to her. So she knew I was there. She knew roughly where I was because I was guarding the mausoleum at the time. And she come walking down, so I walked over to her and I went, "Mother," and she just shouted out. Now, I mean, I went, "Mother." So one of two children was talking to her. Like,
well, to be fair, she may have thought you were the other one.
That's pretty good. How about you, Raven Shadow? Do you guys in your neighborhood do Halloween on Halloween? Do kids come trick or treating on Halloween night, or is it another night? I never know how these are done now.
No, they did. So we did it on Monday in my neighborhood. Yeah. So
in your hamlet.
In the hamlet, I've been told it's Guido Hill. Some friends have mentioned that, but I'm more before I think about it as like the Dago Bar is where I'm at.
The Dago Bar.
Dago Bar, right? That's right. Because I'm Italian. I have a bar downstairs.
Or it's like Dago Ba, right?
Well, yeah. Well, I would think like I always thought like Dagobah was like where like the stormtroopers and witness protection program would go to hide out. If they like turn state's evidence on the empire, they would hang out in Dagobah. The Italian, the mafioso stormtroopers. Yeah, kind of like going to Florida with that My Blue Heaven movie with Steve Martin.
So, but it had to be in Boston because it was the bar.
Yeah, Dagobah. Or Swamp Planet. But no, we had the trick or treaters. It was a very small group. Marion was here. She got the pumpkins lit prior, but we probably had between like 6 and like 7:30, maybe like 5 groups at most, maybe 15 people. But yeah, we had the kids trick or treating. That's fun.
That is fun.
Yeah.
All right. Did you give away a lot of candy or what?
Yeah. I gave them all the the white chocolate ones, which I don't love. But yeah, a lot of white chocolate.
You gave away the white chocolate so you could keep the good stuff for yourself.
Yeah. White chocolate Reese's Pieces. It's fine, but it's not the really.
White chocolate Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, ghosts. The ghosts.
The ghosts.
All right. I've never heard of that. And you do realize you bought this candy. Like you could have bought candy you like.
Yeah, well, I just bought bags. I got bags of things. But come on, I'll give you a ghost. You can eat white chocolate peanut butter.
I don't like white chocolate. It's too sweet.
Yeah, that's why I gave it to the kids.
That's why you give it to the kids. Yeah.
Right.
I gave him some bills I had. I gave him my light bill. I'm like, here you go, motherfucker.
Oh, I thought you meant like dollar bills. No, you're just cans of soup too, and
yeah,
DVDs. Is that where the Casablanca DVD went? You give it to a kid.
Wait, what was the worst shit you guys? We've probably talked about this before, but what was the worst shit you guys got for candy when you were trick or treating when you were younger?
Mounds and Almond Joy.
Really? At least that's
I hated
at least
that.
That's a candy bar though.
Yeah, at least it's a candy. Yeah.
I mean I've gotten pennies and apples.
Yeah, apples kind of weird.
Yeah, getting an apple or a penny like that's lame.
Yeah.
Never got either of those. There was a neighbor that used to give out like popcorn balls.
I would not touch those. I would not touch
those. Oh,
yes,
it was an old lady. She'd make a popcorn ball and wrap it up with a little elastic band and a ribbon and throw it away when you get home. It's not,
Yeah. My mom would Angela would throw away any kind of pumpkin balls, and that'd be like suspect. She would toss those.
Yeah, anything that wasn't like store bought, like prepackaged, was always in the trash.
Yeah, we appreciate the effort, but we don't trust you.
Marion says some asshole down the street was giving away full-size Reese's cups, made us look bad.
That's true. Marion was actually interrogating the kid, like, "Yo, where'd you get that, son? We almost put our costumes on and went down the street."
Yeah, what was she like, sticking her nose in kids' bags? Like
she was. Yeah, one kid she was interrogating one kid, like, "Yo, like, "Oh, Snoop, did you get the full bars, son?" I'm paraphrasing. She didn't really talk like that, but I would.
Yeah, I
nobody,
can't imagine her.
Yeah, nobody talks like that.
I was holding all of her.
And
he must hate Halloween, huh?
He's not a big fan. He doesn't like Halloween or 4th of July.
Most dogs hate 4th of July. And
yeah.
You know what's funny is Ozzy doesn't give a fuck. He just, like, if it gets during the grand finale, he might bark because it's, like, annoying, but he doesn't get scared. He's, like, the only, well, not the only dog, but, like, I hear of a lot of dogs get really fucking spooked by that.
Oh,
it's funny.
My dog Pepper used to hate the fireworks because they were, like, right there.
Oh, yeah,
like,
you were literally, yeah. You're like, what, like 100 feet from them or something?
Oh, it's
maybe 200?
Like on a busy night, people will park in front of my house to go to the fireworks.
Yeah,
so it's like right here. So it was no blocking it out.
I've done it. And Aries' house is like bombs of a Baghdad. Like it's crazy.
Let's see. Oh, Marion says worst I ever got was 5 pennies.
At least it was 5 and not 1.
It was, 5. She said the kid brought it up. That's how she knew about the Reese's. Probably like,
what was he trying to shame you?
Yeah, probably. What's this bullshit? I got a Reese's down the road.
I got full size down there.
Oh, she said, "Hey, look what we got down the street," and then they stared at me condescendingly.
Like, yeah, we got weed and beer in here, motherfucker.
Yeah. Come take a hit. I'm sure some kids would have been okay with that, maybe.
Yeah, once again, to the parents, by the way, people aren't giving your kids weed, man. It's too fucking expensive, so don't worry about it. No one's fucking.
Well, you know what the funny thing is? I saw, like, the new reason to check your kids' candy is because people are putting fentanyl in the candy. And I'm like, no, motherfucker, those people that have it are not wasting it. I can guarantee you. They are not putting it in kids' candy.
I have dear friends that I won't share drugs with. let alone fucking some fucking douchebag kid next door.
You know what the worst thing that was discovered in a child's candy this year was a wrapped syringe that probably some old lady like mixed her diabetes stuff with the candy and like just threw it in some kid's bag. Like it was still packaged. That was the worst thing that ended up in a child's candy this year.
That's ridiculous. Let's see. Our boy John, he says, I had a neighbor that gave kids ammo. He had belts of 50 cal and took them apart. Yeah, I grew up in the 80s. He said 100% truth. Holy shit. You know what's funny is I would expect that now in some places, you know? Whereas back then it was like almost kind of cute, right?
What state did John live in where they gave ammo? Because it wasn't blue, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. The 80s, possibly.
Yeah, fair.
That's insane.
I mean, I can remember chasing around soldiers to get their spent rounds on the Memorial Day.
That's true. That's right. Yeah, fair. Oh, we'd walk by the high tension lines and get the old shells that we'd find back in the day.
Oh yeah. I used to. Yeah, that's a good point. I remember you used to find some down like in the high tension lines. Yeah.
I mean, not to tales out of school, but isn't that we shot some guns by the quarry, the rock quarry. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, he's like, shut up about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've shot a gun, so.
Your gun isn't special.
no
matter what you try to get people to say.
The little 22 rifle that we shot was nothing.
Yeah, that's the only time. I think that's the only time I've shot a gun is, when I was like a teenager. My dad used to take us camping, and at one of the campgrounds they had a gun range, and so we used to, we used to go shooting like 22s. But I think that's the only time. Oh, John says Ohio, Northeast Ohio. Okay, well that gotta make sense. Oh shit.
Although Jim Smith from Teal was doing, I saw a cool post he did. He was giving out some Matchbox cars. He gave out like Luke
that's
Lance,
cool.
Batmobile, and he bought some like along with the candy so kids could pick what they wanted. And
Yeah,
like, yo,
yeah.
man, fuck you, fucking mini Snickers dog. I'm gonna take Luke Slansky.
You know what those kids are gonna do? They're gonna fucking take that. They're gonna put it up on eBay, sell for $20, and then buy all candy for $20.
Right.
Oh man, that's crazy. That's cool.
You
Though.
know,
I like the choice.
Yeah.
I did hear that some place was encouraging kids to give out potatoes as the prize. I don't know where this was. I don't know if it was real, but the idea of giving a child something that if they threw at your house it would do damage, never.
Oh, that's not good. Yeah, here's a gallon of paint and some water balloons. Have fun.
I like I said, it was just kind of like a passing story. I don't remember where it was, but I was like, who the fuck would give a child a potato? Like, I don't know.
Well, Irish neighborhoods.
That potato might have come in handy in this movie we're going to talk about, though.
I was thinking about that too. Aries and I know somebody that made a potato can and was very excited.
Yeah.
And it made me think of that. Yeah.
But did he call it a potato cannon or a potato gun?
Potato was a potato can. I thought it was a cannon.
No, call it gun.
All right.
Whenever I see, actually, I don't know if maybe you didn't know this, Raven Shadow. Anyways, whenever I see a potato gun being used in a movie, I get bummed out because the one film script I wrote, when was that? Probably in 2001 or 2. So yeah, about 20 years ago, utilized a potato gun in like one scene, and I'd never seen that. To that point, I'd never seen it. Not to say that it hadn't been done, but so when you see it, I was like, God, you fuckers. But it was used in a different way, which was cool. Let's see. Angry Townsman says, when I was little, we got homemade treats all the time. I remember a piece of cake one time.
Oh, God, Jesus.
He said, and no, we did not eat it. Scion in the 80s.
Here's some chicken nuggets. Have fun. Go outside.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's crazy. A fucking piece of cake. Imagine, here you go, honey. Give me this.
No, I have questions like, was it on a plate? Was it wrapped? Or just
right? Thank you. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
it cut at the door and just dumped right in the bag?
Because we use when we were real fucking professionals, we used fucking pillowcases.
Whoa, you were a professional at one point?
Well, I'm also a professional too in a story I may tell later on tonight.
Ooh.
But no, you had if you were keeping it real, you'd have a potato sack, fucking potatoes. Pillow sack. What do you call it? Pillowcase.
Pillowcase. You said it right the first time.
Yeah. That's how you know you're blowing up when you come home with a full pillowcase.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what you had to do. You had to have a fucking pillowcase back in the day.
Yeah.
And
that we roll.
And then I would I remember getting, the booty like the next day and like pouring it out like and comparing it. I compared it with like what my siblings had, and we would like trade and do all that thing. See where you miss out on being an only child, Raven Shadow?
No, dude. Like my parents would roll deep. I mean, I got, yeah. Good,
Well,
but
I'm not saying you didn't have a good childhood. I'm just saying you couldn't trade with your brother or sister. That's it.
But I had everything I wanted.
Did you?
Well, I did, except for the one year I remember I think Anthony mentioned this. I had the box blue Luke Skywalker costume, where he was the X-Wing pilot.
Yeah.
And I was pissed off. I may have mentioned this before, but like I went to a trick or treat, and like, oh, you're on TV right now. And I'm like, you fucking patronize me. This isn't a movie. You can't watch this on TV. But they were referencing Battlestar Galactica, which was
yeah.
but that's not Luke Skywalker. As dope as Starbuck and Apollo was, they were no Luke and Han. And then I had a crazy haul because we walked areas, and you know where my parents lived. You don't know where my grandparents lived, but we walked the whole thing. I had a crazy haul. Like I had a bag with the fucking what the Grinch took from fucking the Who's down in Whoville. So it was like 82, so there might still be razor blades and needles and candy. So we're sorting it out and watching our grandparents' house. My grandfather was checking it out, and he spilled the whole thing of Jim Beam over like all of my candy.
Oh my God.
So it was like almost like
and that is how Raven Shadow became an alcoholic. That's your origin story.
Shit, wrong meeting. I gotta bring this up on Wednesday next week.
Raven Shadow's alcoholic origin.
I never thought of it before today. Wow.
Oh shit. That's fucking good.
That really happened.
I believe it. That's amazing. Oh, Angry Townsman, I think let's see. He said it was saran wrapped. The piece of cake.
Oh, the cake, yes.
Evil Corny says, someone I know in California's kid got a potato on Monday. And he and he said, I remember my dad putting the baked goods from Trick or Treat in people's truck beds and mailboxes. That's funny. I don't know if I ever I'm trying to think of baked goods. I don't know if I ever got baked goods.
I've gotten apples.
Yeah.
Although there's some that will actually put out comics. Put out like quarter bin books. You know, rot your brain instead of your teeth type thing. That's
Right.
cool.
You rot your brain, kid. I think that's a good idea, though.
Yeah, maybe Mary and I will do that next year. We'll give them some options.
Options.
It'd probably be cheaper to buy a bunch of quarter bin than a bag of candy.
Oh yeah, candy's fucking expensive now, huh?
Ridiculous.
What the fuck? I don't even know how that happened.
Yeah, it's like fucking real. It's like almost like cheaper to go to the movies to buy candy. That's fucking weird.
You may not be wrong, actually.
Like fucking really, dude.
That it is insane. Yeah, I think last time might have been for like a Deadite show or something, and I want to say it was like $7 or $8 for like maybe $9. I don't remember. It was definitely like close to 10 for like a big bag of candy.
Right, for like a Milky Way the fun size, which means like cheap motherfucker size. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Oh, Angry Townsman says stock up on Free Comic Book Day. There you go. Yeah, here you go, kids. Have fun. You got your pick of the litter.
So I almost died today at work on a fucking fun-sized Snickers bar.
Oh, hold on, Ayers. Before you tell the story.
All right. Yeah.
Of all the things you do at work, that is not what I would expect you to say the reason why you almost died.
Yeah. You know what? Because when I cut the flaming tree, I didn't go, I almost died today because I ran headfirst into a fire. No, I almost died today because of a fucking Snickers bar. Fun size, it only had the fucking N on it. But someone brought in their leftover candy. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll have a piece of candy. And I popped a Snickers bar in and I chewed it, what I thought was enough, and went to swallow it, and a little fucking peanut caught in my throat, and I'm fucking dying. And I'm fucking too proud to go, I'm dying, someone help me. I'm still trying to talk, and I'm like coughing and dying and choking. And people are like, you okay? You need help? I'm like, no, I'm good. And also, I can't bring myself to say I have a nut stuck in my throat because that just sounds awful.
Yeah, you can't say that. You really said you have to die at that point.
Yeah, I'm oh god, yeah, it was the end of the day too.
You could just say I have something stuck in my throat. right?
Yeah. Oh, they understood that I had something, but like the fact that it was, I essentially popped, chocolate and caramel, most things that would like dissolve naturally in a mouth, in a throat. It was the peanut that was the problem that won't dissolve in 30 seconds. So they couldn't understand why I was having trouble with this little fucking miniature little end-sized Snickers bar. Don't eat the ends.
You should have given yourself the Heimlich.
Oh God, it was awful. I just wanted to get out of there, and we're choking on a damn peanut.
Oh man. Let's see. You guys have any other Halloween or trick or treat related stories before we move on? No. All right. Well, if any others come up, that's fine. Or if folks in the chat room have any, feel free to post them and we'll read them. But I don't want to talk about this too long, but real quick, I can't recall because we haven't talked about it in a few weeks. But are either of you guys keeping up with Andor, the Disney Plus Star Wars show? Raven Chow, you haven't started it, right, Raven Chow?
I watched the first one,
Okay.
and then you yelled at me because I thought that the swear was in the first one.
Oh right. Oh, that's right. I remember yelling at you. Yeah. How about you? How about you, Aries?
4 or 5 in. I don't remember. I know I'm beyond 3 because I heard the swear, and it was more of the fact that like it happened, and I was like, and because it was right at the end of the episode, like so it pretty much ended. I was like, oh, that was it. Like it was very organic. Like if it hadn't been mentioned, I would not have even like it wouldn't even clicked because it was very organic. It fit in. It didn't seem forced at all.
I actually didn't even notice it until like someone mentioned something later because it just was, completely in context of what was going on,
Oh yeah, in this society, if it hadn't been brought up in this show, like I wouldn't have even given it a second thought.
Yeah.
But as far as what you were saying, because we discussed in the past about the 3 episodes dropping at once.
Yeah.
I see where you're coming from with that because that almost is its own story. Those first 3 episodes. So I see why they were dropped all at once, but it throws me off the type of person I am with putting 3 episodes out at once. I am initially behind, so I'm never going to get caught up. So I am slow. Excuse me.
Did you get a nut in your throat?
Peanut still there. I will never get caught up to like watch the last episode when it drops type of thing. But I know I've watched beyond those 3, 1 or 2, and I am enjoying it. It is a very good show. It's very unique. And I do appreciate that it doesn't just fall into the same old Star Wars routine. Yeah. It's in that universe, but it has its own feel. And I like that they're doing that with the Star Wars, that every show has its own feel.
Yeah, this last episode was episode 9 that just came out yesterday, and I love it. I mean, all the episodes so far I've really dug, but for the most part they follow the three act sort of story arcs. So it's pretty much like 3 episodes make up an arc,
All right.
So I think it's good to kind of keep that in mind. There is one episode that kind of deviates from that a little bit, but I think it's good to keep it in mind because sometimes not as much will happen, in the setup of a new arc, and then it'll ramp up and then it'll resolve, So I'm really loving it, and it may be my favorite Star Wars series, and I know that's saying a lot because I love The Mandalorian, but this is just so well conceived, so well written. The sets, like you can tell the difference between using stagecraft, which is that bit they call the volume, the big, huge. It's basically like a sound stage with a built-in enormous TV behind it, and they can project any image on it. So they use video game editors, and they'll create a whole 3-dimensional world and they'll project it onto the screen. and then they can move the lighting, they can move the angle, the direction. There's a lot of different things they can do, and it's amazing technology. But like, I can tell, I didn't like when I was watching that show, I was like, yeah, this looks awesome. Like, it looks so good. But when you compare it to something that uses actual sets and like they're using real locations and real sets, there is a big difference in the way that it looks. Like, when you can compare like that, like, Andor feels like it is a living, breathing world. And a lot of times I feel like in Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett that they're limited by what they can interact with or what's present in the scene. So I think it's new technology. It's still better than CGI from like the prequels. Like, I feel like it's a lot further along than that, because they're basically using video game technology, which has been growing and growing for years, and looks really amazing. So I think they'll get there, but I think Andor just feels so cinematic, and it feels so good the way that it's made, and the music is fucking amazing.
Yeah, I will agree that the fact that they're dealing with physical surroundings adds to it. As much as I do love The Mandalorian, there is something that lacking because the actors aren't interacting with the things that are there, even on a subconscious level. If something is not there, it doesn't matter how good of an actor you are, you're still pretending.
Yeah.
But when something is physically there, the person, there's definitely a feel that something is really there or pretending it's there, or cashes in on that 100%.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. It's it's been really good, and there's going to be another season, and that'll pretty much bring us right up to Rogue One. So that's obviously that's going to be it for Cassian Andor. Spoiler alert.
Although I will say I don't like when he shaved. Like, I don't know. It's just like he was just like, wow, you just like knocked off 10 years of your life. Suddenly, I feel like you should be carrying around textbooks. Like, I don't know. He just looked like he should have been walking to high school.
Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. You know what? I kind of want to jump into the movie, so I think we'll start to wrap up, unless you guys have something else you want to bring up.
I just want to kind of just mention the Ween show.
Oh yeah,
week.
yeah. I'm glad you remember, because I didn't. So yeah, you went to go see Ween on Saturday night, right?
Yeah. So Mary and I would go see Ween, and listen, for the longest time, and when I first came into what we'll call the NCW crew, I could never get the love that some of you boys, especially Psycho Patrick, had for Ween, because all I knew was push Little Daisy and make them come up, and I'm like, because I saw that in Beavis and Butthead. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm a metal and hip hop guy, but Marion really turned me on to that. But I get it now. I get it. So we saw them in Boston, and I haven't seen a national act since probably Ghost with some of the Maru, I think 2018 or 19, pre-pandemic. So it's been a while. But we go to the show, and there's no cops around. There's no cops in the corners, but it's fucking packed with people. Like, it's almost like if like episode 1, Endgame, and you were waiting in line for the Flume or the Batman ride at Six Flags all on the same day. The line was fucking. But they were cats selling nitrous balloons.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And everyone's in costume, so I'm wearing my Ted Theodore Logan outfit from the shop early in the day, and Marion's she has like a very like butterfly, super dope mask thing. She's just kind of like the Black Orchid from DC, but if the color scheme was different. But dudes are selling nitrous balloons, 4 balloons for $20. So we're in line
for balloons.
not the balloons, but balloons.
No. I know. That's what I said. You're in line for balloons.
No, we're in line for the show, but on the side.
Okay, I thought you were in line to buy balloons.
No. we have tickets electronically. But no, but aside where like you would think cops would be guys selling nitrous balloons for $20.
For $20.
I'm sorry. How were they advertising them?
There were dudes in a cowboy outfit laughing his ass off. And Marion said, "Where'd you get that balloon?" And he said, "That guy over there."
But the guy actually physically selling balloons.
Like
just
in the venue or outside?
Outside. You can't sell nitrous balloons inside. It was all out.
But I mean, was he just selling like? Was a guy saying balloons $4 and you knew because the last asshole was laughing? Like,
yeah, it was kind of like a sexy speakeasy kind of thing going on.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, well, you're making it sound like he's just got like nitrous balloons, like a neon sign, like it was definitely on the down low type of thing.
It wasn't really on the down. It was kind of in the open fro.
Well, to the extent that you can sell balloons.
Yeah, big ones.
Yeah.
So I'm in line, and Mary went and bought some balloons. So now some nitrous.
This is good.
Long way around to this. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that when you take nitrous, it lowers makes your bass better, like Barry White, baby. It makes it deep. So like sound like Herman Munster, you're like, oh, Lily, Grandpa. Or it feels like you were hit with a dart, like, oh, I feel so slow. And you're talking. And like the old Dennis Leary bit, you get high for
do you actually sound that way, or is that how you perceive it when you're on nitrous balloons?
No, you do, because like Marion was like, yo, you want to talk about this?
It sounds like the guy from fucking Twin Peaks. I am the arm.
It was kind of like that. So like, you're in line, you fucking huff some fucking nitrous. What the fuck? But hey, it was fun. And then we get inside.
Was this the House of Blues? I'm assuming.
No, it was the House of Balloons.
No? House of Balloons, yeah. Oh, Chris, where did they play?
I don't know. It was
you don't know where you fucking went?
Where were you? We on Lansdowne?
No,
Marion, please tell us. Jesus.
It was near the WBHG building where they had the TV station.
WGBH. WB.
WWB. But we had to fake around the Alston Brighton exit, and somehow we got around. But it was
I know O'Brien's maybe.
Yeah, it was a big fucking parking garage, and then
you didn't see the show in a parking garage.
No, but that's where the guys in the balloons were. We finally get in. We dished the balloons, and then we got through security, and then there's the first bar. There's the gimmick table on your right with the swag, and there's a bar, and we're waiting in line.
Marion says it was at Roadrunner.
Roadrunner.
I don't know what that. I've never heard of that.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Right? None of us are.
Okay, but you went there, so you should know.
Well, it's Roadrunner.
Yeah. There's 1,000 things that should trigger Roadrunner in your mind.
And it was all songs that the Pistols covered.
Yeah, if you said the song and the Coyote, out of stupid luck, someone would have said Roadrunner. Like,
I didn't think about the Coyote at all until you mentioned that. Now that would have been cool. But one dude was like, "Yo, the open bar, not open bar, but the bar over there is open. We go there." And we're professionals, so we get 2 and 2, like bunk beds. I get 2 drinks, she get 2 drinks. Always, I think Linus would know this. There might be potential for long lines, always get 2 drinks.
That's state to state, county to county. It all depends on the rules.
Fair, to be fair.
In Massachusetts, you cannot get served any more than 2 drinks.
But I think well, we there was 2 of us. Yes, so we got 2 for both of us. They saw us. So that's fair.
Yes, that's what I just said. You can't get any more than 2 drinks.
No, fair. So we did that. Fucking $53. By the way, just saying that.
$53.
Yeah, but fucking 2
for
fucking
drinks.
But yeah, 2 beers and 2 ciders.
Jesus.
How's that? How's that grab you?
Yeah, that's why you pregame the parking lot.
Wait, the price of candy is more attractive now.
Yeah, buy those Kit Kats, the non-white chocolate ones, and actually the fucking nitrous balloons were quite reasonable. But I will say this: Queen played almost a 3-hour set, no opening act. They were totally killer. Big ups to the dude in the pink furry costume. That was, I wish I had the drugs that he was on, but he was like, he offered to have Marion stand where he was standing so she could see the stage. I'm a tall drink of water, I can see, but he offered to Marion. I said, thank you, brother. There were a couple of drunky guys, but
how do you know he was a brother if he was wearing a pink furry costume?
Well, I think the facial hair.
Well, typically a furry costume is like full, like head, everything. No,
he had his head exposed, and he looked like somebody we knew back in the day that hung out with Provost. And Aries might know who that is, but yeah, he had a beard, he had a facial hair, and I could see a little bit of from his furry costume, so I assume it was a dude.
What's the?
You saw?
Could you see his balls, his dick? What could you see?
Is this a Ray Ballsbury kind of situation? What's going on?
I can see his penis.
Why do you have a lisp all of a sudden?
Yeah, I'm doing the fucking cable guy thing.
Okay, out of context, that's weird. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, let's rope it back in. So they played almost 3 hours. They were killer. There was a dude that let Marion could see. That was cool, and it was a lot. It was a great show. I texted Psycho Patrick, and here's what was cool. When the songs, people didn't actually do the fucking phone thing. They actually had lighters when the songs were required.
I don't believe it.
That was fucking cool.
You probably just mistook lights on phones for lighters.
No, they really had lighters. It's a fucking probably
it's a fire hazard. Didn't Great White teach you anything, Raven Shadow?
Well, they had fireworks. But big ups to Ween. A couple songs we didn't hear because they played on the Friday show, but it was so killer, and so that was awesome.
So I like the way Marion describes it better. She says the crowd was hilarious. The guy in front of me in the pink unicorn onesie was cracking me up. I think pink unicorn onesie is better than a dress as a pink furry.
I feel it's the same.
I think you're making some assumptions there.
I don't know what those costumes mean.
And she says it was a unicorn onesie PJs. She reiterated, Raven Shadow.
Yeah. PJs is different than a furry.
Well, I have an eye appointment tomorrow, so I'm not sure. Best person to speak to what I saw.
And Marion's echoed nitrous was cheaper than the drinks. And she said, I didn't see peen at Ween. Apparently Raven Shadow did.
I don't know. I got X-rated.
You see what you want to, you know.
Yeah, your eyes go what you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have X-rated vision.
Yeah, so you want to see you want to see dick. You're focusing on dick.
I like X-rated vision as opposed to X-ray vision.
Yeah, I have X-rated vision. I just see D's and B's, man.
I didn't hear any discussion of V's, just D's.
Raven Shadow's like, I see dick people.
I see, yeah. Don't show me clouds.
And Marion says, Ween fam do drugs. They have lighters.
Thank you, Marion.
All right. Well, I like the way Marion describes it.
That's awesome.
Raven Shadow, you're fired. We're going to have Marion come on from now on.
At least to tell stories.
That'd be awesome.
So you had a good time though. They played for almost 3 hours. You saw a dude in a pink unicorn onesie, and you did nitrous balloons.
It's just balloons. We had $53 worth of beer.
All right, now.
Yeah, when you say $53 worth of beer, it sounds like a lot, but it's really
right.
2 beers each.
Yeah. I was totally fine to drive. I had a little bit of a headache.
Yeah, $53 worth of beer. I'm usually unconscious. So, now you've spoken about your experience. I'm curious about Ween. Do you recall the band?
Yeah,
like
they were killer, man. They were totally they were so good. They really played for the show. They had fun.
I hope they played for the show.
Now, I mean, this isn't a shot towards the band or anything, but was there any type of, beyond just them playing, any type of stage show?
I mean, they didn't have it wasn't like a Rob Zombie,
Oh yeah, no. Like I said, it's not a shot towards the band. I was just curious because I've never seen Ween, so I don't know what type of show they put on.
They kind of came out to the thing, and Marion has a better memory than I. They mentioned Boston a couple of times.
Well, yeah, you got to get that cheap pop.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a band playing a show, you have to mention the city you're in.
You don't have to. That's a cheap pop.
Right.
I hate that cheap pop.
So
there's several bands in Worcester that'd be like, "Hello, Boston." We're like, nope.
Yeah.
No.
We're 45 minutes east or west.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Marion says no theatrics, really, just rock and weirdness. And she said that I had a humbling moment upon leaving the show. I wanted to get more nitrous, but Raven Shadow said no.
Oh, Raven Shadow's the responsible one?
I don't know about that. I think he just didn't want to spend more money.
He just wanted to get home.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could be a team effort to drive home. It was 45 minutes on the putt. You know what I mean?
I think there was a line for the nitrous, and he was like, "Fuck, we gotta go."
Did they take credit cards for the nitrous balloons or just cash only?
What do you think? Yeah.
He's like, yeah, PayPal me, Venmo me, cash me outside. How about that?
Yeah, Venmo, Vinny Mo me, Vinny Mo,
Vinny Mo.
Hey,
You'd be like, do you take Venmo? He's like, yeah, my buddy Vinny Mo. Yeah, give him the money.
Yeah, Vinny Mo take Vinny Mo take more dollars. Yeah, but it's we did nitrous, watch Ween. Not bad for fucking year old. Metal, dude.
All right. Well, good story. By the way, Rave Shadow, we didn't talk about this yet, and I since I was off this week, I had I've just kind of trying to take it easy, and I've tried to stay away from my computer for the most part, and we didn't talk about the BO tapes. Do we want to hold off a bit? I don't want to spring it on people and you with a couple days notice, the blackout tapes.
Should we push it out a little bit further just to get everyone prepared?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is Thanksgiving week? How's that for you?
Thanksgiving week would be killer because that's dope. So maybe we'll push it out.
We can talk about it. You can come up with whatever works best for you, but maybe like a Black Friday.
Black Friday.
Yeah, you could just say Black Friday all the time. But maybe for people who are gonna go out and buy some shit or be online, maybe they would enjoy blacking out that night on Black Friday. It seems to make sense, right?
That could be fun with a Blackout Friday.
Blackout Friday, yeah.
If I could just interject a little bit here, could we not call them the BO tapes? Because I really thought something bad was.
Yeah, I was trying to be.
I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? Something's stinking.
Yeah, Evil Corny said BO tapes. I was thinking body odor.
Mine went. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
No one's gonna pay for that.
Yeah.
All right, so
buy some deodorant to contradict that.
Yeah. Let's give it, think about it, Raven Shadow, and next week let's let folks know for sure. But I think if you're around, I mean, I think that's kind of a cool I think a lot of people will want to blow off some steam on that day. So, Blackout Friday. So
I like. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, well, we'll talk about it and maybe put it up for a vote just to be sure. But I think that sounds pretty good. And you know what? Like, I don't know. Like, maybe we'll do a watch along if possible. Like, that could be kind of a cool thing because I'm sure people like usually after Thanksgiving, people just kind of like to chill unless they go out and do some shopping for Black Friday. Or you know what? Maybe people are shopping online. And then maybe they just want to kind of chill out and fucking take it easy on Friday night,
Word.
So okay, we'll talk about it. Maybe we'll propose, we'll propose it or post a question and find out if that works for people. If people will be around for our Patreon supporters. So if you guys listening would be interested, as of right now, it's tentative. We'll find out all the details, but. Tentatively, maybe we'll do a watch along followed by blackout tapes or something like that. I think that could be good times. So, and it seems like a good day to do it. So we'll let you guys know for sure. Hopefully by next Thursday with the details, and we'll post stuff on our Discord channel. We did have someone new join the Discord a couple days ago, but if folks out there want to get in on it. So Discord is open to anybody. Anybody can jump in, and you can just go ahead and wherever you're listening to this, whether it's on our website, whether it's YouTube, or whether it's on a podcast feed, there's links we have links for like basically all of our social media and all that, and for Patreon as well. But there's also a link to the Discord server. So you can go ahead and click that link in the show notes wherever you're listening to us, and you can join our Discord. And we do have a lot more channels available for folks who are Patreon supporters. So you can join for as little as $2 a month, and you get access to all the different channels in there. And then you can also get access to these Patreon special things that we do. So we're going to be doing, as mentioned, we'll be doing another watch along soon, and blackout tapes potentially on the same night. And all you got to do is get into the lowest tier, $2 a month. That's all you got to do, and then you have the world at your fingertips, kind of. You have Raven Shadow at your fingertips.
Touch me.
Angry Townsman says, was glad there was no aroma vision for the BO tapes. Corny says, if someone's BO is bad enough, it'll make you black out. Smell-o-vision. Yep. Pretty much. So yeah, so you guys check out the Patreon. You can go to patreon.trickortreatradio.com and it'll bring you there. And if you're not already a supporter, you can join for as little as $2 a month. If you want, you can get in the higher tiers, and in one of the tiers, you can do a Patreon takeover. And what that means is you get to choose. You get to come on the show if you want to. You get to be a guest co-host, and you get to choose one film and a topic or two films. And, it's basically you program the show, and we all hang out and shoot the shit. And we're actually going to kick them up again starting in December. So we will have our next Patreon takeover in December. I'm going to reach out to the next in line. So if you've been wondering, you will be hearing from us soon. So, yeah, looking forward to getting those going again. And I'm curious to see what we're going to view. We've seen some cool movies, and we've seen some movies that Aries dislikes. So, so we'll find out. But, give that a look, patreon.trickortreatradio.com, and consider joining and helping to support us. We would appreciate that. Marion just posted a GIF of you and I from Septic Raven Shadow.
Oh shit! She finally showed it.
It's me I'm sort of like in the like kind of barely in frame, and I'm crossing my arms, and you're looking all like sexy with wagging your hair and everything.
Oh, we're so good in that shot, dude.
Does that make you miss your hair when you watch that?
It does. I might grow it back.
Why did you never explain? Why'd you cut it?
I just had a fucking breakdown.
You had a breakdown.
Yeah.
You just stick a comb in it?
I was like Britney
Brushing
Spears. I just had to make it away. But yeah. But we were so good. We are so good in that movie, dude.
So if we do a watch along on Black Friday, we have a lot of options because it could be something, it doesn't have to be related to anything. It could be related to Thanksgiving. It could be related to the holidays, or it could just be whatever. So if you guys have recommendations for a film that you think would be fun for a watch along, post it in Discord or just message us in the chat right fucking now if you're watching live. All right, so that's gonna wrap up the Patreon thing, and we're gonna do a Patreon show soon. We'll talk about that. Just because we had the Halloween show, we may, it may be a little later than usual, but we'll figure that out and let you guys know when that will be dropping. The other ways you can support us, you can go to trickortreatradio.com. And you can scroll down on the main page there, and you will see the Amazon logo. You click it, it brings you to Amazon. It inputs our affiliate link, and we get a tiny little cut of everything you buy. And you know what? If you want to play along and watch some of the movies that we do that are on VOD, what I do is I always post on when the episode drops on the podcast feeds on Friday. I always drop links to the movie, like the movie we discuss. If there's a link, if it's like Netflix or something like that, obviously there won't be a link. But even the Shudder ones are available because Shudder is owned. You can get Shudder through Amazon. So, for instance, when I post this, tomorrow we'll have a link to Deadstream. And if you are not already a Shudder subscriber, you can go ahead and subscribe right through there. So it just makes it a little bit easier, and it uses our link. So, for instance, if you want to watch the movies that we talk about, that's a great way to do it, is just go to trickortreatradio.com, scroll down, look for the episode, just click on the episode, and in that episode listing, it'll have the audio, the video underneath, all the show notes, and then on the left, I provide, some of the movies of note that we talk about, whether it's the movie for the main film discussion, the one we might be doing next week, or just a movie that we talked about for more than a couple seconds. So those are also ways you can get to Amazon to use our link. And I know with Black Friday coming up, as we mentioned, a lot of folks are going to be buying some shit on Amazon, and with the holidays, just go ahead and use our link, and it helps to support the show and gives us a little bit of funds. And the final way you can support is on trickortreatradio.com as well. Click store, and it's going to bring you to our digital storefront, and you will see the greatest hits. You know what? I skipped over your thing, Raven Shadow. Are you okay with that?
Oh,
fine.
Okay. I was just kind of moving and grooving and talking about Black Friday and all that. And then, we got the greatest hits of Trick or Treat Radio volumes 1 through 3 on trickortreatradio.com in the store. So if, you're new to the show, new-ish, you haven't been around since the beginning, we have 10 plus years. We've been doing this, 536 episodes. And then if you include all the specials, we have 11 Halloween specials. We have 10 year-end shows. We have an episode 0. We have a bunch of Star Wars specials that we did when the films dropped. And, a bunch of others. There's probably somewhere close to like 570 episodes or something. But if you don't want to listen to them all, and I don't blame you, you can listen to the greatest hits and get a little sampling of Trick or Treat Radio throughout the years. So you can give that a look. And all those ways to support us help. So we appreciate any and all support you can provide to keep things going. And, we stream the show live. There's a lot of costs associated with that, with the software and, the super high-speed internet. We're actually I just found out we're getting, because in my apartment, we only have one option. Like we have, we can only use... Comcast, fucking Xfinity. And it's actually been fun. Like, it's been pretty reliable. I know a lot of people talk shit about Comcast's service, but it's been pretty reliable, so I can't say much. But it is expensive. So apparently, I think we're getting Verizon Fios installed here, and it's significantly cheaper because you can just get internet. You don't have to get fucking TV and all that shit. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, once it's turned on, I think the quality of it is significantly lower because it's just not as fast. So I don't think I can save money doing that, because to do the show, we need to have the best internet available. I feel like I'm just rambling now. There's a lot of costs associated with it. That's all you got to know. And I was just about to cut to Raven Shadow, and he is fucking gone. How about that? Can you believe that, Aries?
Snoop.
We are literally about to go to break. Literally about to go to break, and he steps away. Oh, Ollie was running amok, blah, 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 right?
Well, I was here, but I had to take care of something.
We're literally about to go to break.
Yeah, apparently not clearing your throat was part of that.
Yeah. What was so important, Raven Shadow? Read the note in front of the class. What was so important? You couldn't wait like 30 seconds.
I had to use the restroom.
You could not wait 30 seconds to use the restroom.
I couldn't. It would have been bad.
You're at home. You could have just changed.
Yeah. It's gone on the floor.
There's lots of equipment over here. It would require a lot of...
All right, that's fair. I'll give you that. There is some equipment under there. All right,
yeah.
Raven Shadow, so you sit down to watch Deadstream. What do you do to prepare to watch this movie?
Oh, man. I fucking...
No, I don't.
Oh, my God. We stalled and waited for you to come back.
And that's what we get.
This shit better be good.
No, it's not going to be good. It's going to be bad. It's not going to be good.
Oh, my God.
Check out our extra special Halloween special. And, I got some leftover candy. And you better believe I stopped listening to the OTC episode because I'm like, you know what? I think we're doing this movie in a couple of days. So I stopped. And then I will listen to the OTC episode after tomorrow because I knew I had to watch this movie. So before I could check out OTC, I had to strap on.
You go through your week with the same old routine.
What you really want is some blood and thunder in your life.
Well, friend, you found it.
The Cromcast is an adventurous journey through the history of two-fisted pulp stories.
With your hosts, John,
Josh,
and Luke.
We have action,
horror,
and adventure, all through the lens of pulp luminary Robert E. Howard.
Don't just stay in your ordinary life.
Find your pulp life at thecromcast.blogspot.com.
The Cromcast.
The Cromcast.
The Cromcast.
A podcast for the barbarian at heart.
Trick or Treat Radio, man. That's where it's at. That's the new Fangoria Radio.
The following message is a paid advertisement for the Cult of Muscle podcast. The Cult of Muscle. You're either in it or you're dead.
It's the dawning of a new age. The halls of Valhalla have been shuttered. The heroes of yore have either retreated to the shadows or taken to capering for the amusement of the small folk. Their past glory is a distant memory. The barbells have been torn from their once puma-strong grips. The beards shorn from their square jaws, only to be transplanted onto flannel-clad, puny weaklings with fingers barely powerful enough to strum a ukulele. The time has come, my brothers, to restore order from the chaos. No longer will our heroes be forgotten. No longer will their great deeds be viewed through a foggy lens of irony. Hear now our rallying cry as we scream it from the mountaintops, as we bellow it from iTunes and Libsyn and Facebook. It's time to join the cult, my brothers. So don your cloaks and enter the Cult of Muscle.
This is Chocolate Beast. You're listening to Trick or Treat Radio, but you should be eating nougat.
And we are back on Trick or Treat Radio. I literally, the last couple of times, I've gotten back like either like 20 to 60 seconds after the music plays. So I like made a race against time, and I literally was walking in as it was wrapping up. So now it is time to discuss our film for the week, and we will be talking about the film Deadstream. This film is a horror comedy. It is 87 minutes. That's almost Aries. Well, actually, not so much you. I think Raven Shadow's like perfect time.
He's more about the time. Depending on the type of movie, I nitpick about time.
Yeah, so we got 87 minutes. It's not rated. It is written and directed by husband and wife, Joseph and Vanessa Winter. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe this might be, well, I'm wrong. I was going to say it might be the first time we've seen a film from a married couple, but that's not true because we did Hellbender from the Addams Family, which was a the mother, the husband, and the daughter. So this is not the first time we've done like kind of a family kind of film. Well, I call it a family film, a film done by a family. But in this one, it is Joseph and Vanessa, and there was a name I kept. So this is I didn't look a ton into this. I would have liked to have had a little bit more time, but ended up watching it like shortly before the show. So I wrapped it up not too long ago, and so I didn't get a chance to research it a lot. But one name, I kept seeing a lot of the same names in the credits, and like another name that kept coming up is Jared Cook, who basically was a producer. Let's see, what else did he do? I remember seeing his name come up all over the place. Production management, art department, and so on and so forth. Sound department, he did the sound mixing, visual effects. So this is very much sort of like a jack of all trades kind of deal where everyone wore a lot of hats and just got shit done. And that kind of, like, I know we talk a lot about Robert Rodriguez because we're all kind of big fans of his work, especially when he was coming up with El Mariachi and, in his book. I know at least, I don't know if I remember if you said you were familiar with the book, Aries, but I know Raven Shadow and I read Rebel Without a Crew. And
I did not read that.
Okay. It's a really great book. But I kind of love, there's something really kind of romantic and elegant about a film that is done, on this kind of level, like where people are just doing whatever the fuck they can to get it to happen, like even taking on roles that they might not normally do or learning how to do new skills because it's needed, so there's something very like always interesting about that. And I just love seeing things like that. And, just looking through the credits, seeing like a lot of the same names doing so many different things. Like, for instance, the Joseph Winter did the music as well. So not only was he the star, he is a director, a writer, and he did the music, and Vanessa and Joseph edited it. So like so many hats, like they just wore so many hats on this, and that can sometimes be a really bad thing, or in some cases it can be a very good thing. And we've seen some filmmakers who don't make good editors necessarily, or because it's their own story, their own film, it's sometimes good to bring in an outside person to edit it because they're not as emotionally attached to it, and they can know when to cut and when not to, whereas I think if you're too close to it, sometimes you may not be the best judge of when to cut, because you're like, oh, well, like, yeah, I love this part. I wrote this, so of course I'm going to keep it, you know? Ravenja, how about you? I know, sort of, there's certain things you like movies that could be a stage play, and like, so, but I also know you're a big fan of this sort of style of filmmaking. So is there anything you want to add to that?
No, I think yes, and I do love those things, and I think any film is a collaborative effort, but obviously there's different tiers. But I think this is also more of a smaller knit creative community involved, and definitely takes a village to what they would achieve. And I think what was cool is not every found footage film is a fucking masterpiece. I'm always excited for it, but I think this movie did some really good things in terms of putting it on the table. Like, it announced what it was doing.
Yeah.
To allow for the found footage conceit to be able to play itself out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. And also, Aries, I'd like to get your perspective, because you're kind of a jack of all trades as well in a lot of ways. Like, you were talking about Haunted Orlando, Halloween maze that you helped build for the last several years. So, as someone who, I'm sure you've had to learn some things that you might not normally do, but do you kind of look fondly upon films like this where people kind of wear a lot of hats?
I can definitely appreciate this, because throughout, not just, you mentioned Haunted Orlando, but through jobs that I've had in the past, like, whether consciously or unconsciously, I've always found myself in jobs that you need to adapt and learn new traits, whether it's, going through a class or just having the old timer show you. You just learn from being immersed in it. And you know what? This day you're the apprentice. The next time you're the assistant, and then all of a sudden you're the teacher, and you're showing. So it's just, I do like this kind of thing where you see the same name just appear over and over again, because it's just this tight knit group, and they're all teaching each other, and they're all learning, and they're all growing, and it's hard to explain, I think, unless you've done this type of thing. Not that I've made movies, but I've been in situations where it's, one second you're teaching, and the next second you're learning, because of the group you're in. And I definitely got that feel for this movie even before I saw the names repeating themselves in the credits, because it definitely had that type of low key feel. All those just talking heads that popped up throughout the whole thing. It was like, all right, you know what? That's probably the editor, and that's probably, food services just showed up for, a cameo type of thing. Like, I definitely got that feel that, it was just like a whole tight knit group, and I like that feel.
Yeah, I agree. And so, we, as I mentioned earlier, we did do VHS 99 last week, and we saw the segment To Hell and Back from the Winters. And I think that was a great sort of, I think they did this first, if I'm not mistaken, but still kind of a good introduction to them as filmmakers and storytellers. And for me personally, that was my favorite of the entire film. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Aries, was that your favorite as well?
This was they did the hell one. Yeah.
Yep. So for Aries and I, that was probably our favorite. And Ravencha, I know you liked it. It might not have been, you liked the whole thing as a whole. So, but I think,
but it was still killer.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I think, that was a great little introduction to them as filmmakers, and it definitely made me very excited, because I had programmed this film prior to seeing VHS 99, so I was excited that we had kind of did these back to back. So All right, well let's dive in and let's talk a little bit about the film. And as mentioned, it is sort of in a way like it's a twist on the found footage, because in a way it's not found, it was streamed. So it's
Right. Oh, right. Yeah.
I don't know if you could call it found footage just because of that. It does have kind of have that conceit where somebody is in charge and in control of all the cameras. Go ahead, Raven Shadow.
Would you call it now footage?
No, I don't think I'd call it that, but
That was pretty good. I was trying to like trademark something. I was like,
I mean, A for effort, but no.
no.
Swing and a miss.
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
You were like
Swung for the fences, but ended up in the catcher's glove.
Foul tip.
You were, I'm sure all of our listeners are going to love this reference, but because it's a baseball reference. But you were like the Philadelphia Phillies last night, Raven Shadow. They got no hit in the World Series.
I can't believe the Phillies and the Astros in the fucking World Series. Really? That's fucking wild.
Well, the Astros, I can't.
Yeah, they've been
that's
good
believable.
for like 8 to 10 years.
I don't know about good. Maybe they just know a little secret.
No, they've been good. They've been one of the best teams.
Banging on trash cans and whatnot. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
All right. Our listeners probably don't want to hear about baseball, but just wanted to, make a topical reference there. So yeah, I mean it's interesting because yes, this technically has all the sort of constructs of what would be a found footage film, but I hesitate to call it found footage because it's streamed live. Like people are watching it as it's happening, as opposed to something that is lost and forgotten and then found. Well, you know what? And to be fair, all found footage, they kind of play with that conceit a little bit, like there's always sort of like, well, it wasn't necessarily found later. It was, so it is a little malleable, I think. I'd say that it's not always something that is found later.
I mean, I would say that the definition of found footage was coined found because of what was available at the time.
Yeah,
it doesn't necessarily need to be lost and then found or rediscovered or whatever else. I think if this genre was come about today, it probably would have had a different name. I am not going to try to redefine the genre, but it probably would have had a more appropriate name. But I do feel this falls into the found footage. Simply because of the style.
Yeah.
How about first person footage?
Well, but it's not always first person because he set up the cameras,
Ah, fucking shut
Yeah.
You want to
take a cue from me when I said I'm not going to try to redefine it.
Raven Shadow, strike 2. You want to try for one more try? Come up with something.
I'm gonna take a ball.
So yeah, I mean we don't necessarily have to define it. It does have the trappings of found footage, but in a more modern way, where it is live streamed, people are watching live, people are reacting live, people are helping him live. Literally, like people are like decoding Latin and things like that. So it's interesting. It's an interesting discussion, and maybe it's one we can continue to have because I'm sure we'll see more films like this. Like in a way, Host, that film we did, 2 years ago, I think it was. That was a film that was done all on Zoom. So technically, it wasn't broadcast live. Like only the people that were in that Zoom call were seeing it. But in this case, it is live streamed. So we don't have to define it. It is what it is. But I think it's an interesting way of presenting this. And typically when I see something like this, I tend to really be skeptical coming in, because I don't know what it is, but I think it's when movies sort of date themselves, like the minute it comes out, it's dated because it is using technology of this time. That's certainly not to say that it's a bad thing. It is just a fact, right? Like a movie comes out, it is a snapshot in time, and it is a snapshot of that time, and it displays the technology of that era, you know? So, yeah, go ahead.
You could go back, like, look at something like War Games, right? The Matthew Broderick picture from years ago. You know, do you want to play a game? I mean, that's obviously a different. Yeah, I think you got to buy into the conceit of the time frame.
Yeah.
But I get something to take you out of things, but what are you going to do? I think this is as I don't know where technology is going to go from here, but he seemed like this guy used all the technology that we have now for this.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, well, this movie definitely seemed to lock itself into a hard date rather than leave it open to, this could have been 10 years ago, it could be 5 years in the future. This definitely locked itself in. This was, 2022.
Yeah, and I did get the sense, and perhaps you can do all of this stuff that they did in this film, but there was I've never used GoPros, so that's one thing I don't, like we stream live, so I do a lot of stuff with the different feeds and stuff like that. It's certainly not nearly as high tech, but what they had set up I thought was like a really cool, like he had sort of like an editing, kind of real-time editing where he can cut to different cameras, and he could play media from other sort of channels, like when he had videos from folks that they'd send to him and stuff like that. So, I think it was kind of cutting edge technology of this era, and maybe even sort of like a step above where most streamers would have access to. Like he definitely put a lot of money into his craft, if you will.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he was an established streamer, kicked off, and then this was his, reintroduction. And on his first stream, at one point, there was 6 million viewers.
Yeah, and that's...
So, I mean, if this is your livelihood, you're going to invest as much as you can. So he would definitely have the cutting edge of technology to do this.
Yeah, I got the impression that the 6 million was way more than usual, but they didn't really talk about what his sort of normal
what his normal number was. But I mean, even if we're a lonely little podcast here that streams live, even if something amazing happens for us, we're not going to hit the 1 million.
Yeah, no. We like if something ridiculous was happening and people started sharing it, we might get in the thousands, like low thousands, but that's the most we could probably expect for a live show.
Yeah, so for him to hit that mark, he must be something. Yeah, and especially, sure. Because even, the best live stream, people will tune in the next day, especially for something overnight. So
yeah,
I felt that 6 million mark was significant to
definitely
establish what type of viewership he had.
Yeah, and actually, I realized I didn't read the synopsis, so let me go ahead and read that real quick, and we'll kind of set the scene a little bit with the plot. A disgraced internet personality attempts to win back his followers by live streaming one night alone in a haunted house. But when he accidentally pisses off a vengeful spirit, his big comeback event becomes a real-time fight for his life. So in this case, I'm guessing the inspiration for this character of Sean Ruddy was probably Logan Paul. Are you guys familiar with who first of all, who he is and what he did?
I've heard the name.
Well, he's in. Go ahead, Aries.
Oh no, I was just gonna say beyond the fact that he keeps on like challenging real fighters to fights that don't seem real.
That's actually his brother, Jake Paul.
Oh,
Logan has actually, I think he has boxed as well, but Logan Paul is currently in the WWE, and he's fighting Roman Reigns this Saturday at their big like fucking Saudi Arabia show.
Oh boy. Okay.
Saudi Arabia again.
Oh, they're taking that blood money for like as much as they can, man.
Yeah, you groan, but if they throw a few million at you, you're over there.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Logan Paul. I'm not a fan of his. I don't really even know who. Like, I wouldn't even know who he was if I didn't hear about this story. But I'm gonna try to just briefly do what I remember. So it's possible I may get some details incorrect. But he went to the suicide forest in Japan and basically filmed live while he was there. And I think he actually showed a dead body or something like that on camera. And he got a lot of shit for that, a lot of flack for doing it, which rightfully so. And I think he did end up losing some sponsors and stuff like that. So I don't know if he had a comeback like this, like if he had like a comeback event or anything like that. But I feel like he was maybe the inspiration for this, because he sort of had that experience where, he had to kind of win back his followers and he had to apologize and all that stuff, So
yeah, it sounds like a similar thing.
So, I mean, that's, we have Sean. What was the name of his show again? Shit.
Oh, crap. It was a clever pun, too.
Yeah, it was. I'm going to have to pull it up again. And
yeah, I don't remember.
But anyways, it was kind of a clever little thing. And maybe someone in the chat room can point it out if they remember. But, anyways, so yeah, he's lost all his sponsors and he's trying to get back in the everyone's good graces. And so he was able to get a sponsor for like a new energy drink or something like that. And he was kind of apologetic. And the way he's trying to get his followers back is to go spend a night in this haunted house. And he's kind of set some rules for himself. When he gets there, he removes the spark plugs from his car, or two of them anyways, and throws them into the forest so he can't go, just take off in his car. And then he also, when he gets into the house, he padlocks the door so he can't leave. And he drops the key into like a grate in the floor, in which it goes like down into like, the basement or some part of the basement down below. So that's kind of the setup, and he has a very complex setup. He's got a GoPro on his head, so you can see the first person view, and he also has a reaction angle where he's got like this whole contraption where he's wearing like a backpack kind of deal that has like a pipe that leads to a camera that is like front facing that shows him from kind of slightly from the side. So you can see his reactions and things like that. And as he's working his way through the house, he's placing GoPros and adding their feed. And they have motion sensors that they're programmed to, if they sense motion, to immediately cut to that camera. So that if a ghost or something shows up, that it'll cut to that camera so that it plays on the live feed.
And that's what I thought was cool. I mean, part of the kink of a found footage movie is that you only can see what's in the light.
Wait, who has found footage kinks?
Well, I'm just saying, like, part of the gimmick.
Okay.
Gimmick kink. It's very
well, don't kink shame anyone for this Raven Channel.
Fair. I will as part of the found footage gimmick. it's what the camera sees, but I think that this did a good job of, okay, we can see other angles, and the fact that he had his own mixtape, They could have a score with it. I think that it addressed some things that maybe some found footage movies have had some criticism for, but I think it put it all on the lay it on the line like a Triumph song. You know what I mean? Like it showed you what it explained things on why you might see some certain angles.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that can kind of be a bummer about found footage sometimes is, you know, all of a sudden you hear music, you're like, where the fuck is the music coming from? You know, like, or like there's an angle that never would have been possible. You're like, where the fuck did that angle come from? You know? So the one thing I loved is that, yes, they set up this premise and they explained why everything was covered. Like all their bases were covered, which I really appreciated, because that's one of those things where you either sort of like hand wave it and are like, yeah, well, you know, it's a movie, so, you know, give us a break, like we had to use a different angle for this, or, you know, like it's something you don't see, or it's just like it you know, it's just one of those sort of things you just have to kind of forget about. But I feel like in this they set it up perfectly so that no matter what happens, it's his, you know, it's his footage. You know, he put all these cameras up, and all that, and he has multiple different angles on him, which helps to be able to get different, you know, different shots. And also, we'll talk about this a little bit later, I'm sure. But the spear cam was kind of fucking ingenious.
Now, I'm not going to say they set it up perfectly, because there were a few little holes with this premise. I thought it was an ingenious idea to come up with different camera angles for the found footage, but there were times where it's like, okay, they said it was going to cut to the other camera if motion was detected, and we're watching one feed, but everyone else is watching a different feed.
That's fair.
So it's like, which there was times where it was like, which, like, do we not see the live feed, or what was going on? So that was a little bit of a plot hole there. Forgivable for this movie, but being that they spent time to establish a reasonable idea to have different camera angles and multiple, like I think there was up of like 6 or 7 different cameras throughout this whole movie, which I that's probably a record for a found footage movie, to have seven different camera angles.
I think, and I'm certainly not disputing this, because I totally get what you're saying. I was under the impression that we were seeing his feeds unless he was looking at like his iPad or his tablet, whatever that was, and he would pull up and then can see what the viewers were seeing. So, I mean, it is kind of playing around with that a little bit. Because when it cut, when there was motion in one of the rooms, we didn't see that. We saw it on his tablet occasionally, and then we'd see people reacting and saying, look in that camera or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was the establishment, like he said, if he moved a certain way, it would switch between the headshot or
his wristband
backpack
thing?
shot.
Yeah.
If he did that, but it also said that motion would automatically go to that camera, and there were times when it did and times when it didn't. That was, you know, and I do feel that was adding to the tension of the movie. And I will concede that it added to it, because of the tension that it created. But it was just a little bit of a plot hole.
That's fair. I think that was probably filmmaking decision to, you know, let's keep it on what's the most interesting shot, as opposed to, you know, something else, because we're seeing his reaction. So,
well, I do feel like anytime it didn't necessarily go to what the motion was, I feel it was to build tension.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that, Rave Chattel?
Yes, it was good.
Okay, great.
Dynamite drop.
Yeah. All right. So it's so funny. We've actually been talking about this movie for like 30 minutes. Is that right? Have we been talking about it that long? Like we've barely even scratched the surface, but we've mostly been sort of kind of setting it up and talking about the technology, which I think is all very important in talking about this movie. But yeah, so that's kind of the setup here, and he's going to stay in this house that several people have died in. And the first one he talks about is oh man, I keep forgetting shit. What's
Madeline?
No, it was the corner man.
Well, I was going to talk about the something Pratt. Was it Madeline Pratt? Something Pratt.
Chris Pratt?
No, it wasn't Chris Pratt.
But also, like with the main character, like he's done a bunch of like wacky stunts. Like he did, like got fucked up with the cops. He would do.
Oh yeah, he called cops douchebags and threw shit at him and got chased.
And he was very much like a video blogger D-bag.
He's a streamer. I mean, that's he live streams. That's his thing. Kind of like that's why I mentioned Logan Paul. That was kind of his deal.
Yeah, his gimmick was to do things that he was afraid to do.
Yeah.
Right. And overcome his fears. And his big fear is being in a haunted house.
Yeah, that's his big one, and that's why he made it so that he couldn't escape. Basically, made it so he wouldn't be able to leave. Oh, Wrath of Sean. That was his show.
Yep.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So let me find out that character's name, because
Sean.
Let's see. I'm looking for it now, so I'll find it in just a moment. But anyways, he goes here because there's a woman who hung herself, and since then there's been like a rash of like deaths and other kind of hauntings and weird stuff. So he decides to stay here. He's kind of going through the thing I loved about the scene with him setting up the cameras, and we've talked about this, is that kind of spatial awareness. We basically got a tour of the entire house when he was doing that. And it really helped so you could be aware of where he was and where the rooms were in relation to one another, I thought that was super helpful in trying to figure out where stuff was and all that. So that was great, just seeing him kind of walk through. And he's kind of giving a little bit of the legend of kind of what happened here and the different people that have died here over the years. And he kind of talks about all the different hauntings that are shown. There's one guy, the guy in the corner, who just kind of stands in the corner, and there's like children from the nursery, and things. So we got just different sort of takes on all the legend of this place. And I thought that was just really cool to kind of get it's just a great way to kind of set the scene and for a movie without having a ton of exposition or reading or whatever. It's just, he's talking about it because he's sort of our tour guide through this,
Which I think that was kind of cool. And I like the fact there was one safe room they decided to make his base, where like all the things that he researched or whatnot, there was no supernatural activity in this one room. So it's like, this is going to be my ghouls, my safe zone, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of his home base he sets up. And so in there he finds, it's Mildred. Mildred Pratt was the character's name. So, and she was a poet, and I won't talk about some of the stuff towards the end, because I actually feel that was really kind of interesting, the connection he made between Mildred and kind of what he was doing. I thought that was really kind of an interesting reveal not a reveal per se, but just a way to tie them together. I thought was really kind of interesting and cool.
It was definitely cool when like gimmicks collide from different,
different eras.
Different eras. We're like, oh, that's why this kind of works.
Yeah. I thought that was really kind of ingenious. And once again, I don't want to, if people haven't seen this movie, where I don't want to spoil too much, but because I think that's something towards the end. It's kind of a cool revelation. It's not a twist or anything, but it's a kind of a cool revelation that I think if you don't know going in, makes it just a little bit more impactful. So so he gets in here and he gets set up. He's starting to kind of hear some stuff and getting a little spooked. Actually, one thing I want to point out that T-Dog mentioned while we were watching this is in the bedroom where the corner man was. I don't remember what the name on the wall was. But anyways, it's... Let me see if I can find...
Was it Leah?
No. Let me see if I can find it here. I'm actually kind of scanning through the scene with it right now. It's Esgore, I think. Let me see if I can look that up. And it's, from what I understand, from what T-Dog said, it's sort of like a or is it Eogor? Yeah, I think that's it. Sort of like almost like a golem, like where you not your friend from Lord of the Rings either.
Precious, more like the Jewish the stone.
Yeah, like a golem that you summon or something, and I think it was something that that you could summon and would sort of do your bidding or something along those lines. I'm not sure if I'm getting the name right because I paused it on that scene and it's hard to make out the writing. But anyways, that's so that was sort of a bit of a telltale there that there'd be some fucking weird shit going on down here. But yeah, and then as he's sort of making his way through, he hears some stuff, and then he sees somebody, like somebody's in there, and it's an adoring fan, someone who's a big fan of his, and wanted to just meet him. So, Chrissy comes here to the house and scares the shit out of him first, and then he asks, his viewers if they want Chrissy to stay or not, and so most people vote yes, and then Chrissy stays, and so he pops a GoPro on her, and then they go through and kind of explore some more, and she's a part of it at that point. So, and that's about, I think, where we can stop with the plot, because at that point stuff happens, and I don't want to spoil things, because I think that's when things kind of pick up, as they say. But this is a horror comedy, and I thought that it excelled at both of these fairly well. When I saw some people talking about this movie, I saw some people mention Evil Dead, the Evil Dead series, like Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2, I don't remember. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, like I'm curious how that people got to that conclusion or how it kind of fits in. But after seeing it, I can definitely see that. Did you get any of that, Aries, while you were watching this?
Oh, definitely. I definitely got the Sam Raimi vibe with this, done brilliantly, I would say. They must have watched Evil Dead multiple times and just had a love for it when they made this movie.
Yeah, I think that, and the great thing is that they established the spooky part like really well. Like the horror aspect was perfectly set up before they jumped into the comedy aspect, because I think otherwise it might not, that guy was goofy. Sean Ruddy was like, he was goofy, but I feel like you had to set up the horror before, the contextual comedy worked. And I feel like they did a really good job of doing that in this. So I was really glad to see that they let the horror breathe for a little bit before they really hit the comedy.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I mean, he was a goofy character, but it wasn't over the top. Like he could have been any type of goofy character from any horror movie. It didn't get into the whole slapstick horror until you were well established into it, and you were on edge with the horror aspect of it. So they balanced it so well.
Yeah, I agree. Raven Shadow, any thoughts on sort of like the establishing of the horror before they got to the comedy bits?
Yeah, no, and it's funny. I did get an Evil Dead vibe in terms of the practical effects.
Yep.
So I mean, I'm not saying this is not a fucking like comparison to fucking Raimi by no fucking stretch, but I got practical stuff a little bit. I was kind of thinking that. I don't think this is a horror comedy. I think there might have been some jokey aspects of the broadcaster that was taking the piss, and I think a lot of some of the jokes came from the live feed too, which is like funny, like anything. We've live broadcasted, we've watched friends live broadcast. There's always someone that like, I like turtles or whatever the fuck. Like someone's like, and they were fucking goofing on his fucking like skin complexion. He's like, no, I don't have pock marks. Like basically they were just like, there was some jokes with the live feed, but
you didn't think there was comedy to this?
No, there was comedy, but I don't. This wasn't like a Ghostbusters thing. Like I thought the seriousness outweighed the. Yes, there was comedy aspects of it, but I wouldn't put this as a horror comedy first.
Well, that's. I guess I don't understand. There's comedy, but you wouldn't. What would you call it? Just horror?
I would say this is more of a straight up. If you want to call it the found footage, whatever the blank footage genre, but I wouldn't put this as a horror comedy.
Oh, I totally would.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
Totally.
Oh yeah. See, I'm agree with Wolfie. You weren't in the room when we initially started discussing this. Like we're definitely putting this on par with Evil Dead, like that type of horror comedy.
Yeah, Evil Dead 2.
I guess I wouldn't really put.
Do you call Evil Dead 2 a horror comedy?
I probably wouldn't call it a horror comedy either.
But there's like
No, I get it, but like I still think the gravitas of Evil Dead 2 I don't know.
What about Army of Darkness? How would you categorize that?
Horror adventure.
Okay, I got it. What is a horror comedy to you then?
I guess horror comedy could be used to lessen the overall product. Not always.
Well,
not always. Because,
but name one. Name a horror comedy.
Well, here's a horror comedy that I think has some stones to it. Is Shaun of the Dead, which is a horror comedy, but when shit really breaks down at the end, you really feel the threat. I guess if I hear horror comedy, my first gut instinct is that it's not really dangerous overall. And I'm not saying that as being detrimental. I thought this had some laughs to it. You know what I'm trying to say?
Well, I get what you mean. In a horror comedy, you feel like the stakes are lowered. Like it's supposed to be like more for yucks. It's like might be a horror scenario, but it's played for laughs. Is that kind of what you're trying to? Is that what it means to you?
That's what I'm trying to communicate. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we can have different definitions. I mean, that's not. I'm not going to argue with you over it, but I mean, this has contextual comedy. It sets up the horror, and
yes.
it has contextual comedy, and there are laughs. Like I think it's important to kind of denote that, because for some, if some people go in thinking this is a straight up horror, they might be disappointed by some of the comedy that is present. And for people who see it as a horror comedy, if people put a lot of stock in genrefying things, then they'll know, okay, well, this is horror. I can expect to kind of have some moments that lighten the tension a little bit, and I can feel free to laugh a little bit and and not be so freaked out and on edge all the time, That's what I don't know. That's just what I think. Like, I mean, it's good for giving genres for things. I think is important for some folks. A lot of times I like going in just cold, as we talked about, without knowing much. But in this case, I think it lives up to that horror comedy, and I think it's warranted. But
I 100% agree with that. I mean, I didn't know what I was getting into with this. I probably would have liked to have known it was a horror comedy going into it. But I feel this establishes itself fairly early on that I wasn't like, what the fuck is going on? Like I grasped it right away. So I was fully on board. Like it didn't hide itself at all.
So when you realized that, it didn't kind of take away from the film.
No, it did not, because it blended itself so well. Like it was just like, all right, this is a creepy horror movie, and it's just like, why am I laughing?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a comedy horror, but it's so creepy. Like it just established itself so well. Even not knowing going in, it didn't take away from it at all.
And I think there were some laughs, but I don't think you're right. It didn't take away from the sinister things going on. Like I felt worried about this main character. Like it wasn't. I felt there was a serious. If I was in that character's role, I wouldn't be having any fun.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just want to clarify when I say it doesn't take away. It doesn't take away from the horror. It doesn't take away from the comedy. It doesn't take away from the tension, because I feel this is all in there. Me personally.
Sure.
So that's what I'm saying with doesn't take away. The comedy, the horror, the tension, all that is out there in 100%.
Yep. So yeah, I think, I mean, we kind of, talked a little bit about the horror / comedy, and the thing I do like about it is how contextual the comedy is. Like for me, it's not like they're trying to make you laugh with like a funny joke. It's
right, yes.
It's all contextual, because this character is kind of a fucking idiot, and also because of the situations he's kind of putting himself into, like throwing away his fucking spark plugs, locking the door, and I think that there just is some wacky hijinks that ensues because of the situation he puts himself in, and also there's not too many redeeming qualities to him, and this is one of those movies that someone in the chat room earlier mentioned Dashcam, and Dashcam, we can talk about. I even forget her name, and I don't even want to mention her name, but that main character was just completely like zero redeeming qualities whatsoever. And with this guy, I feel like even though he doesn't have much in the way of redeeming qualities, I feel like there's a part of you that's kind of pulling for him, even though he's a bit of a scumbag and he did some shit that was wrong.
I think
he does have like an everyman type of feel to him. Like he wants to be, an influencer or a streamer or whatever. he wants to be that type of person. And I mean, he's obviously made some kind of career of it, but like he is just an everyman.
Yeah.
Like when he made his dedication, like, dude.
Towards the end.
Don't do
that was yeah. But that's like him being faced with his mortality and the mistakes he's made, you know. Like I get it, but it was intended to be, you know, like this fucking dude is such a piece of shit, you know, that he's just sort of trying to do right. He's trying to, but he's just so clueless about what is right, you know.
He's like, this is my real apology.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I actually called him a like scumbag. I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think that at his core, he is probably a decent. What's up?
He's a dummy.
Sure, he's a dummy, but I think at his core, he might be a decent person. But people do outrageous things for likes or for followers or whatever you want to call it, you know. And, you know, obviously that's kind of a theme here in this. And he will literally do almost anything to get followers. And if you think about it, I mean, there's some, you know, there's a lot more to it than that. There's some sort of, you know, mental health things that we can probably break down and discuss, right? Like, you know, maybe the dude had a shitty upbringing and he's constantly looking for attention, and this is what does it for him. You know, like he feels like he's loved with the amount of views and follows and likes and whatever. You know, like that unfortunately is a thing in this society, is that people are driven by this sort of like fake metric of likes, you know?
Oh yeah, because he doesn't fully grasp why he was cut out of, you know, what he did wrong. Like even in his apology, he was like, "I'm sorry I did this, but I'm not sorry." Yeah. Like he doesn't fully like he's sorry because
he got
caught. Well, not caught, but that people, you know, what's the terminology that he's
offended?
No. Oh God, what's the
called out?
Not called out. Like with all these Hollywood people that
canceled?
When something happens, canceled.
Yeah.
He's sorry because he got canceled because of what he did. He's not sorry that he did it.
Yeah.
He's sorry that the people don't understand the joke of what he did, even though it wasn't. You know, it wasn't funny, but to him it was, and shame on you for not getting it. Essentially,
it's like somebody saying, you know, I'm sorry my actions offended you, as opposed to saying I'm sorry for my actions. You know,
right.
Which, you know, obviously there's a big difference between the two.
Yeah.
So
sorry you got pissed, dude.
Yeah, sorry you got pissed off, dude. You know, I didn't mean to piss you off. But yeah, I think that is a good way of putting it. Is he had no problem doing what he did, but he was only sorry when, you know, when he got canceled and lost his sponsors and all that. So yeah, I mean, at his core, I don't think he's a terrible person. I feel like he is just someone who, kind of like the everyman, who's caught up in this fabricated, you know, in the society, this sort of the fabricate. What am I trying to say? The fabrication of attention. You know, of like, this is what you do to be, you know, to get attention and to be liked. And, you know, I feel like that's what he's all about. And he's just caught up in this. And, you know, can't say blame him, because a lot of people are like this, right? Like a lot of people will just post bullshit because they know it's going to get them attention or likes. Or there's some people, we probably know people like this who will purposely say stupid ass things because they know that's how they'll get a reaction out of people. They might not agree with it or whatever, but they know that that's the way to rile people up, you know?
Oh yeah, and it's easy to say a controversial thing and then apologize,
right?
Just so you can get the attention.
Yeah. So, I think that is sort of an interesting aspect of this. I don't think this movie goes deep into that and kind of a deep dive into society and how people function in it. But I do know that this is a problem especially for teens, and I think it especially affects teen girls, is like the idea that that you always have to be on, you always have to look good, you always have to present. And I know that there's been some teenage girls who've committed suicide because like they look at Instagram and see everyone looks perfect because people use fucking filters and Photoshop or whatever, and it's just very difficult to live up to that, right? Like you look at yourself in the mirror and compare it to people who are, in Instagram. And of course you're not going to look as good because they're, a lot of these celebrities have a team that is like that. Their job is to make that person look good, So there's just no way to live up to that. And, that is just a big part of society. And, people can easily get caught up in that and affected by it. So I don't know. I'm not saying this necessarily tackles that per se, but I think it does tackle the idea that we are conforming to fit this new sort of society and how it operates,
I mean, I think it touches on it.
Yeah.
I mean, for the type of movie this was, like, I don't think it needed to dive too deeply into that.
No, I agree. And I totally agree with that. I think that if anything, that would be sort of, that might be something that would have really kind of like taken away from the film a little bit if it dove too deep. But I think just having it be what it was, I think was perfect. So, okay, well, I do kind of want to wrap up soon. I feel like we've barely even scratched the surface of this. But what else do you guys want to talk about in regard to this film?
I mean, I don't think this. I mean, this is like too much of like spoiler territory, but I don't think we can dive too deep into this without like ruining things for the people that want to watch this.
Yeah, no,
I feel this is just something you just need to experience because it is, it's a short movie, so it's like once it gets into it, it's into it. We can't really discuss it without ruining it.
Yeah, I think for me, I'll just kind of like go deep on my thoughts here, and I think that a lot of this, like this, hit on so many of my so many of the things that really resonate with me. Like it's an indie film, and it was done clearly on a low budget, as we talked about earlier, with people wearing, jack of all trades, sort of wearing multiple hats and all that. Like there's something very sort of romantic about that, and something I really dug, and it just makes me appreciate it all the more. And I think that they did some really intelligent things here with, like the house looked awesome. I don't know if that, like, I'm guessing that was an actual house that maybe they sort of dirtied up and muddied up and made it look that way. But yeah.
Well, there's one particular exterior scene of outside the house with someone that's pretty great.
I'm trying to. There's a couple. I think
But there's one with someone.
What are you doing?
Oh, I think I know what he's talking about. I mean, that was more of just about the camera angle for
somebody exits the house.
Yeah,
it was a pretty great scene.
Okay, yeah. Okay. But yeah, I think that there was a lot of really good stuff. The special effects I thought were really well executed, and it's cool. It's always great to see practical effects, and I just liked how they pulled off a lot of things. And there's definitely some, as I mentioned, Evil Dead type gags. One especially with someone's crotch.
Thank you. I would say like if a demon ghost bites a D, that's a pretty good.
Demon ghost bites a D. Yeah. So and there was some really great stuff just overall. Like I loved this location, the house that they used, just so many good smart choices, and even like the way that they utilized the camera. I mentioned the spear cam. I mentioned him putting the camera on different characters. And even like the jump out the window, like there was some really, really effective stuff here. Oh, I gotta mention the fucking meat cam.
Oh no, beef cam.
Beef cam. I'm sorry.
Maybe. Like, yeah, I love how he named all the cameras. Like he took the time to name them.
Because of course he's going to, right? Like that's. Yeah, I thought that stuff was really great. It just was overall just a ton of fun, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely got the feeling that this was an actual house somewhere that they discovered, and they needed to make it how they wanted it, because as great as the house was, like I'm seeing some shiny ass doorknobs in this house. Like it was just like, okay, this door needs a doorknob. Let's go to Lowe's and buy a new doorknob. And it was just like so shiny. Like some of these doorknobs, like I'm like, oh, like throw a little like paint or something on it to dull them up. Because as great as the house was, it was just like all of a sudden just like shiny doorknob. Like there probably wasn't a single doorknob in the place, and whatever doorknob they needed, they put it in.
Yeah,
because it was just every time it was just like glistening.
And they're probably at the mercy of whatever they could find at like Home Depot or the local store.
And you know what? Yeah, you buy a doorknob, it obviously is going to be shiny. I feel like they could have. You bought 5 doorknobs, buy a can of spray paint and just dull them up a little bit. I mean that and that's my biggest criticism of this movie. That's
okay.
Yeah.
Angry Townsman in the chat says it was an actual house. He said Zombie Girl's interview with the directors gives some stories about the house and locals that would not go near it. That's interesting. Yeah, I purposely haven't listened because I didn't want that to affect any things that I said about the movie. So I usually try to hold off on listening to other people talk about movies until we've done it. So I'll definitely check that out though. How about you, Rave Chow? Anything else that you want to bring up that we haven't talked about?
No, man. This was let's cue Buster.
Don't. All right. Your associate production powers have sort of like run out. Okay.
No, it wasn't.
I asked you a question. If you don't want to, if you don't want to talk more about it, that's okay.
No.
Maybe me and Wolfie want to discuss a little bit further.
Yeah.
We're trying to draw you back in from your little pee break.
Yeah.
That wasn't what I was trying to do.
Go get Ollie. Go wrangle Ollie. A little pee break here.
I was doing some wrangling, but no. And this movie I was locked in. I liked the conceits that it did to give away the multiple angles, but I'm still locked into things, and it was some scary shit. Entry.
See, there you go. See, you said something and it prompted something from me. So thank you, Raven Shadow. Don't always try to fucking pass the buck, okay? I did want to say that despite the fact that there is some comedy in this, I thought this was really fucking spooky at times. Like, I feel like they did a really good job of setting up the tension and the horror. And that's not something, that's a thing that so easily goes by the wayside for films, because they feel like, well, if you have a monster or like a spooky sound or jump scares or whatever, that, you know, you can kind of like take care of that. But I feel in this, like, you got to really establish the horror. And I feel like they did such a good job of that in this. And I think that's why the movie excelled so well, is because they established the horror. And that's why the comedy works. That's why you're locked in, like you said, Raven Shadow. And it doesn't take much. Just establish the horror and make it like believable and spooky. And they did that.
And I think the comedy comes from more of a Spider-Man comedy. And by that, I mean, it's the deflection of what's going on. Like, there's jokes, but it's like you're dealing with fucking weirdness.
So it's pretty much what I said, contextual comedy.
I'm not sure I know what contextual means, but I know what Spider-Man means. So I'm just helping people out that don't know what contextual means.
Do you know what context means?
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay.
What's the scenario?
All right. So let's do the verdict. So we're gonna jump to the verdict, and we'll give the final thoughts about this. I'm curious to see where everyone lands.
Trick or treat, baby. I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right. It is verdict time. We're going to let you know whether Deadstream was a trick or a treat, and any final thoughts we may have. Let's kick it off with Aries.
This movie was so much fun. This is exactly what I want in a horror movie. It built tension. You were uneasy. It had, as much as I always say, I hate jump scares, but you know what? I like a good jump scare, and this movie had good jump scares because it built up the tension. And when it had the jump scare, like, it wasn't just because it was sudden. It was, you were already on edge, and this movie did it so well. And even after it jumps, like, they jump scare you, and then you're laughing. And oh my God, this is just so much fun. There are so few outstanding horror comedies that excel at both. This movie does it. This movie is a treat. If you like horror, if you like comedy, or any combination of that, check this movie out. This movie definitely is a treat.
All right. Raven Shadow.
Well, I can't even fuck with that fucking recommendation, but I would agree with a lot of it. Yeah, I if you're a fan of the genre, that's the found footage genre. I think
good pull there.
Yeah,
it's a good ode to MZ.
He's not here, but he's still fucking here. But I enjoyed the hell out of this picture. I agree there were some laughs, but never did the laughs take me out of the seriousness of what was going on. Good gore, good effects. It was uncomfortable. So I highly recommend, whenever you watch it with the lights off, maybe a couple candles, but watch it at nighttime. You know what I mean? That's what I say. Watch it at nighttime in the dark. Just your TV. Take some fucking nitrous balloons.
What about a special someone? Can you have a special someone there?
Yeah, you can have someone special someone. I'm not gonna pick for you, but like have someone special. Your special someone. Take some
extra special someone special.
Yeah, an extra special special someone. Yeah. Whichever comes first, but this was a treat in the genre. So I was all aboard for this. Toy dug it. Check it out. treat.
All right. And for me, I think Ari said it pretty well. Like, this is one of my favorite horror movies in a while. Like, this nailed it, and it made it seem so easy. Like, watching this, it just seemed like it was like, oh yeah, like anyone can make a movie like this. It just seems so easy the way they did it. And that's not, like, especially for a first-time feature, like that can't be, that's not easy.
It's not easy.
But they established, like, a legitimate threat, a legitimate horror, and then they worked in some of the comedy to kind of lighten the mood a little bit, because it did get a little heavy at times in terms of the horror. But I feel like they struck the balance perfectly. Like, it's so difficult to find a horror comedy that does it like this. It's either like one a little bit more too much horror or a little bit too much comedy, and then you just kind of lose you kind of lose the thread. You lose what's going on. And I feel like this never got to that point. It always was on that delicate balance, and it did it super well. And I feel like they even used some sort of real world myth and lore in this to just kind of like bring that up to the surface a little bit more. And it's something that everybody can sort of identify with, whether you're a streamer or a podcaster, or you know someone that is, or you watch someone that is, or you're just someone who posts on Facebook to get likes or to get a rise out of people. Like, I feel like everyone can understand and relate to what's going on in this. And all those things combined, in the gore, the practical effects, the way it was shot, everything in this is just so well done. I hate to say that it surprised me, but I didn't have a baseline for the filmmakers because this is their first feature, and we'd only seen VHS 99 last week, which their short ended up being my favorite. But this is, for me, this is like a cut above, right? Like, this was better than their short. As good as that was, this is really good. And I think that this is something that literally everyone who listens to the show should watch. Like, I know sometimes we're like, yeah, just kind of use your discretion depending on who's, discussion style, review style you like on the show. But I feel like there's not going to be many people that don't like this. Like, I don't know. And the funny thing is, looking at the synopsis, like, I have seen like movies that have a synopsis that's like, so-and-so, decides to live stream, like looking for ghosts or whatever. And I'm just kind of like, like, I'm kind of done with that premise. And, but this one never fell into those trappings, and it always felt fresh and like it was doing exactly what it needed to do. And for me, that's difficult because there's so many that have tried things like this. I'm not going to say exactly like this because I've never seen a movie like this, but I don't know. Like, and I feel like it wore its influences on its sleeve a bit. With we talked about the kind of the Evil Dead. I would not be surprised if there's a Peter Jackson influence in there, but it felt unique and that they have a unique voice. And I think that as filmmakers, like that's really what you want. And I feel like they did that. So I was super impressed with this. I really liked this. And I think people really got to check this out. Check out Deadstream. It is on Shudder or AMC Plus, whichever you have. If you don't have either, just get a fucking free trial and give it a look, because it's such a fun movie. It's a really good movie. So, well, there you have it. Our discussion of Deadstream. Sounds like, from everyone's thoughts, you should really check this one out. All right, so that'll wrap up our discussion. Now, next week, we have a guest booked, and that guest, speaking of Zombie Girls, we're going to be joined by Rachel from the Zombie Girls next week, and we will be talking about the film Barbarian. So this film was in theaters not too long ago and was getting a lot of positive buzz, and everyone is saying you need to go in cold, don't watch a trailer, don't read anything about this. So I'm not even going to look at I typically look at the synopsis. Sometimes I'll watch a trailer as I'm kind of like, programming the show, but I am not going to do that for this one. So I don't know anything about this. I just know, I guess, who's in it. Do you guys even want to know who's in it?
If I'm hearing that was supposed to go in cold, I have zero interest. I will press play when time comes.
Okay, so I won't even mention. There's someone, actually, a couple people you recognize. So that's all I'll say. But yeah, this
is it the Barbarian Brothers, or the one that's still alive?
You wish. The Barbarian Brother. That's a name I haven't heard in quite a while.
Oh, that's something that would send MG down a tangent.
Oh God, yeah.
Dude, bring them back. Put them in a fucking Marvel movie. Dude.
I think one of them's dead.
Yeah, one of them is dead, I believe.
No.
Oh, Angry Townsman said nope. So I don't know if he's saying that they're not in it or.
Was he a big Jordan Peele fan?
Don't give actors.
Oh, okay. Yeah, one of them passed away 2 years ago. Yeah. David Paul, one of the Barbarian brothers, passed away in 2020.
That sucks, dude. They should have played fucking Tomax and Zaymon, dude.
And his twin brother Peter is still alive.
Way to bring the show down, dude.
Well,
yeah, because we never talk about death on this show.
MZ had a fucking thing called a coffin corner.
But something about the Barbarian Brothers really makes me sad, dude.
We'll go walk it off. Jesus Christ.
All right, I'll figure it out.
Okay, Angry Townsman said, don't give actors, it's a surprise. So
okay,
don't do anything, just watch. So
all right.
Next week we will talk about Barbarian. All of us are going in cold. I don't know anything other than I know who's in it, and I have read the synopsis mostly, as I was programming this, but that's all I know about it. So we will go in cold. Next week we'll talk about Barbarian. It is on VOD right now. If you guys want to go ahead and give it a look, you can check it out. And if you want to leave your thoughts, feel free to send them our way. podcast@trickortreatradio.com, and we broadcast every Thursday around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can get it in before then, or a little after we start. We'll probably still get it on the show. So I am curious to hear what people think about this. So hopefully, if you guys have seen it and have thoughts, feel free to send them our way. But yeah, looking forward to that. This should be fun. Hanging out with Rachel, and we'll be talking about Barbarian. All right, so we do have a few voice messages. You want to get to those, Raven Shadow? What do you think?
Do it.
Do it. Do it to it.
Do it till you're satisfied.
All right, let me see here. Who want to go to first? You know what? I'm going to go to your boy. We're going to talk. We're going to not talk to. We're going to hear from Evil Corny.
Yes.
Hey guys, this week's film, Deadstream, I'm going to give a treat to. It might be the most fun I've had watching a film this year. Oh. Everything about this film was hilarious to me. I thought it had a lot of good gore in it, but it flowed real well. I had a lot of fun. It might be my most fun watch this year of a film. Yeah. But I kind of can't wait to see what the couple that did this, Joseph Winter and Vanessa Winter, do next, because overall I just had so much fun watching this. And my favorite scene in this film is the potato gun scene in the car, or his SUV. I giggled my ass off. I rewound that section like 2 or 3 times because it's almost flawless how the gun goes off and it doesn't even look like it's an effect because it happens so smooth. You don't really see where it was any kind of edits or cuts or, it's just like it happened live. And I really like watching how a lot of this stuff was just happening. It looked like we were actually watching a live stream. And also, it's way better than what I thought about that dash cam film. I kind of wish dash cam could have been a little bit more like this instead of what it was. But you all have a good one. Evil Corny out.
All right, Corny. Great thoughts. And actually, I'm so glad he brought up the potato gun because we talked about that earlier, and I completely forgot to bring it up. That scene was fucking amazing.
Pretty good.
The initial potato gun and then the aftermath of that.
Yeah, that was the best.
That slow burn of the after effect.
So good. Yeah, that was hilarious. I'm glad you brought that up, Corny. Thank you for bringing up the potato gun. That scene was so good. And, we kind of got the setup a little bit as he's getting the potato gun out. And, like, I didn't expect what happened to happen. And that was super, super great. All right, Corny, thanks, man. Thanks for calling in. And always great to hear from you, buddy. All right, now we're going to hear from our boy. Actually, all three of these folks contributed to our Patreon intro that we did on the Halloween show. So kind of nice to hear from all three folks. But next, we're going to hear from Dangerous Donnie Davis.
Yeah. Hey, guys. This is Donnie, or Angry Townsman. I was calling in with my review on Deadstream. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I enjoyed the heck out of this movie. Very much embodies current streamers. I love the chat messages, constantly egging on the protagonist.
Yeah.
Love that it, did something great with one location and a small cast. The lead definitely worked as a disgraced streamer trying to make a comeback. You really kind of, to me, felt more like, yeah, this guy's scum. I want to watch his stream just to see how much he fails. I was constantly looking in the background for any kind of paranormal events or anything.
Yeah.
This is a treat. This is one of the most, to me, effective found footage movies I've seen since Blair Witch. I know that's high praise, but yeah. The concept for this found footage just worked. Looking forward to hearing your guys' thoughts. See ya.
All right, Angry. Thanks for calling in, man. And great thoughts on the flick. You guys have any comments?
No.
Come on, Raven Chow. You're never at a loss for words.
He's correct.
You are correct, sir.
You are correct, Dangerous Donnie Davis. No, man, this was the cat's pajamas.
Okay. I was asking about Donnie's voice message, but okay, that's fine.
No, he's a great voicemail. I love hearing. Just message me, bro.
Jesus Christ. Thanks, Donnie. It's always good to hear from you, and I appreciate your thoughts on the flick. And I agree wholeheartedly that with everything you said, basically. So, all right, now we'll get one more voice message, and let me just pull it up here. We are going to hear from someone else who participated in the Patreon intro that we did for our most recent Halloween show. And this is our buddy Carlitos.
Hey, Trick or Treat Radio's Carlitos! How you guys doing? I'm calling tonight to give you my thoughts on both VHS 99 and Deadstream. So first, VHS 99. For me, this is overall a treat. I think the weakest entries, in my opinion, is Shredding and the Suicide Bid. Shredding's just sort of left me, I don't know, indifferent, cold. I didn't really get too much a kick out of it. I didn't find it, I don't know, it just didn't click with me for some reason. And in the Suicide Bid, it was good until the point where it took a turn, and it was the makeup effects that kind of took me out of it. It just looked way too cheap for me. Something you would find at a spirit store, I'll just put it that way. But the rest of the entries were really good. My overall favorite, just like you guys, is To Hell and Back. That one was the most fun. I did like the interaction between the two friends. I liked the depiction of hell, and I really dug Mabel. She was fun. You guys were touching upon that she sounded like Gumps, the character from Legend.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking of Gollum from Lord of the Rings. But yeah, I wouldn't put this above VHS 2, but it's a solid entry in the franchise, and I do enjoy this franchise. It's probably my favorite anthology franchise. So yeah, that's it on VHS 99. And now Deadstream. Okay, yeah, this is a treat too. I thought this was super fun. I thought the lead character, which I guess is the director as well, one of the directors, I think he made a pretty convincing YouTuber. I was convinced of him doing the stream at the abandoned house. That was all set up really good. And once things really got going, it was really fun, and a lot of good effects, gags, and monsters and creatures or zombies or ghosts or whatever the heck they are. That was fun. I guess my only criticism, at least this is more pertaining to personal preferences, I think it could have just been a little bit more gory. He got messed up, and yeah, blood got on him and stuff like that, and he had some funny I guess battles with the demon monster ghosts, or whatever you want to call them. But just a little bit bloodier, just a little bit. Maybe, there's a lot of accurate claims that this can be compared to Evil Dead, and yeah, it's very Evil Dead like, both in terms of the comedy and the setting. It's just presented through more of a first-person streaming style presentation. But it could have been more bloody in those terms as well. That's just it, though. That's more personal preference. Not everyone may agree. Maybe it was enough for some people, but that's just me. And that's it, man. I was actually looking at the weather, and crazy enough, some days this week so far, I guess, now that we're in Thursday, is actually colder than you guys over there.
Wow.
Weird. Climate change, you never cease to amaze me and freaking terrify me. But that's it, guys. You have a good one, and I'll see myself out. Later.
That's a great sign up. I'll see myself out. All right, Carlitos. Thanks, man. And yeah, thanks for your thoughts on both VHS 99 and Deadstream. Liked them both. I think as far as VHS 99, similar thoughts to myself. But yeah, it's great to hear your thoughts on that, and glad you dug Deadstream. And yeah, I mean, so far everyone that talked about it, the three of us, and then the three people that called in, everyone liked it a lot. So, I mean, if you're taking that as a consensus, that's pretty good for on this show so far. Anyways, so
I think you pretty much heard from all the people that matter. So you might as well just watch it.
There you go. All right. Well, let me just double check. I always like to make sure we didn't get any voice messages in the last few minutes. But I think that's good. I think we've hit them all. That is it for voice messages. So, all right. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Anything you forgot about? Anything on your mind you really want to get off before we start saying our goodbyes?
No, nothing overly important.
Not really.
Raven Chat, are you going to do some more nitrous balloons as soon as we sign off?
No, there's no one selling them outside.
that guy didn't follow you.
Look, I'm taking all.
He's like, these are the only people that bought them, so I'm gonna just hang out with this guy and sell them.
Yeah. Marion did want to buy a few more on the way to the car, but I'm like, no, we gotta.
What do you do? Like when you finish with a nitrous balloon, do you like keep the balloon in your pocket once you've like sucked all the nitrous out of it?
Good question, John. Because I thought about as a souvenir, but
souvenir.
I did because I would keep, but no, and in Boston they have trash barrels staged.
They have trash barrels in Boston.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah,
Wow.
a lot of they're very clean over there. But we threw them away. We threw all the balloons away.
Yeah, that's a shame. Could have kept like a memento, you know.
We should. I'll check. Marion, we'll check her pockets.
And so how do you do a nitrous balloon? Do you like?
No, it's like then you're blowing a balloon, but you just like take a pull off it. You know, so it's a big fucking balloon, like a giant fucking.
You play
balloon.
Play it like a tuba.
I don't know, but I don't know what a fucking. I don't know what a tuba.
Do you do it? I mean, okay. So here's the thing: do you do it all once, or do you do like you sip it in a way?
Like kind of like you were smoking on a cigarette or another.
So wait, how you smoke a cigarette? How a normal person smokes a cigarette?
Aries is Picarding, but no, you take it's a big fucking ball of the helium. And you just take you hold it, and then you hold it in.
Then you blow smoke rings.
There's no really smoke. It's just you
I'm just kidding.
It's kind of like a whippet, like if you were in the fast food section, not fast food section, the frozen food section of the Shaw's, a Big D, and you like huff the fucking.
Or kind of like the dog, a whippet.
Yeah, no. My cousin is whippet. That's weird. And I'm like, dog is called a whippet. Dog is really, but she has Greyhound rescues, and that's cool.
I just want to make sure you're aware that he's asking you how you do it, and you go, you take it and you go.
Yeah, I know. Like it doesn't
There's
give me anything.
Zero explanation to the sucking sound.
Who doesn't know that? Like, you know what I'm talking about, Aries.
I don't. I have never done a lithium balloon. No.
Nitrous.
Nitrous balloon.
Well, do you want to come over on Sunday and do nitrous balloon?
No. I have aged out of the raver drugs.
And
listen,
the other thing is, Raven Shadow, like, how do you know what's in that balloon? Like, legit, this is a guy on the side of the road selling nitrous balloons. Like, does he have like a license to sell them? Like, how do you know?
You gotta have a permit, right? I mean, to be fair, I smoke a pack of butts a day, and that's shit that's in the fucking concentration camps. So really, I'm not gonna be that too.
Well, the thing
about...
is, that is like the government oversees that. Like, there's like.
Yeah, they're really very careful about the fucking formaldehyde. That's in.
That is no longer in cigarettes.
Yeah. No, it's very natural. They got maple.
No one said natural. It is regulated.
Yes.
So they don't have. Whatever, man. Like, I don't know. Who wants to live long anyway? I don't want to. You know what I mean?
I mean, well, just for an idea of you spent I don't know how much on a balloon. I had the plan of like following the dead around and selling brownies, and just labeling them as special brownies.
Yeah,
even though they were just brownies. and I could have sold them for $10 a pop.
Yep.
Not done anything illegal.
But then you would have to hear the Grateful Dead every night.
No, because you just sell them in the parking lot.
Oh.
And by the time the Grateful Dead start, I'm gone.
You're out.
And I've made a boatload of money selling special brownies to a bunch of stoners who don't know the fucking difference.
That's a really good
So,
idea.
Did you just buy a balloon for however much money?
No. That was an effect. I mean, it wasn't long, but it was nice. It killed the bottom of the line. There's no flying pin in the old Kids in the Hall TV show. But yeah, no, it fucks you up a little bit. Yeah, you lose a couple of brain cells. What the fuck? They grow back, don't they?
So Aries, you got the Grateful Dead. I'll take Fish. And Raven
Fish,
Shadow,
yeah.
Can
No,
have,
fuck that.
Raven Shadow, you
What?
can have the Dave Matthews Band.
Fuck you, no! Wow, what'd you say?
Actually, what's the? You know what? Funny enough, I think I'd rather have Dave Matthews than the other bands.
I'd rather have the Dead. At least like fucking trucking's fine.
I heard a Fish song that I didn't know it was Fish, and I was like, "This isn't bad. What is this?" And then I found out it was Fish, and I was pissed at myself. Like, God damn it! I like a Fish song.
Like Casey Jones is fine. Trucking's fine.
A Touch of Grey.
Yeah, tribute to Aries.
It's the antithesis of your song, apparently.
True. No, but like I fucking hate Fish, and I can't do fucking Dave Matthews. I should like a guy that fucking did that much heroin, but no, man, fuck, he's whack, dude.
Did have you ever tried fish food? Ben and Jerry's?
No, but I want some ice cream.
Fish food's good. They make a vegan version of it too.
Oh, good for you. I'll have some of that.
Oh yeah, good for me. Thanks.
Isn't it just ice cream with Swedish fish in it?
No? I don't think it's Swedish fish. I don't actually remember. I don't remember what kind they are. I don't think it's Swedish fish though.
Have they not come out with the Hulka burning fudge in Iron Man?
Sadly, no. They missed that marketing opportunity.
Right? Like
that would have been brilliant. I definitely would have bought that.
Okay.
But no, they never went beyond the movies.
I would have bought a lot of that.
It's chocolate ice cream with gooey marshmallow swirls, caramel swirls, and fudge fish.
Fudge fish. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
All right, Marion, let's do some fudge fish over the weekend.
Maybe put some nitrous in the fish.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? It's fun. It's fun. You're out and about. You feel alive.
All right. Well, I think it's a good time to end things.
We'll see ourselves out.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Carlitos.
Good.
We'll see ourselves out.
That's fucking
That's
nice.
That should be my catchphrase now.
I'm going to use that every chance I get.
I think we're all going to steal that.
No, it's Carlitos. If he wants to continue to use it, it should be his. But maybe he'll.
Oh, that is his for the show, you're
gonna use
my own.
Yeah.
I will use that at work all the time. I will see myself out. Just walk away.
Yeah.
All right, so that is going to wrap up episode 536. Well, let's say our goodbyes, starting with Aries.
Goodbye.
And Michael Ravenshadow.
Live fast, love hard, survive with your mask on.
All right, everybody, that is going to do it. We appreciate you guys tuning in and checking out episode 536. Go see Deadstream. Go watch it. It's on Shudder. It might be one of the most fun views of the year. We'll see where it ends up on the end of the year list if it does end up there. But I'm thinking that one will make a dent somewhere. But yeah, give it a look, check it out, and if you have thoughts and you want to let us know, feel free to send us a voice message. Podcast@trickortreatradio.com. Tell them Trick or Treat Radio sent you, right, Raven Shadow?
Yep.
All right, so that is going to do it. Next week, remember, we will be joined by Rachel from the Zombie Girls, and we will be discussing Barbarian. So give it a look on VOD, or if you saw it in theaters, maybe, and come back and join us next week. And once again, if you have thoughts, let us know. We'd love to hear from you guys. All right, well, that's going to do it. We'll see you guys next week. We'll see ourselves out.